Yeah, I can hear you now.
I'm on. I'm on.
Sorry for the delay, folks, but let me know how this service is going. This is a test run, and we're going to try to do something different. But what are we calling this, bro? Is this the Tantra sound? Is this
I
Serpent's
mean,
Lair? Like, what is
it's
this
like
called?
it's like a hodgepodge. You know what I'm saying? Like you got the horizon on the watch, right?
Yeah,
And then Serpent's Lair is a thing that's there, but then it's alchemic academic. It's chakra nova, it's shadow work, it's everything all into one. So let's just call it a hodgepodge. Let's call it
hodgepodge,
let's
a
call it
hodgepodge cat, a
a
hodgepodge
hodgepodge,
cast,
a hodge podcast.
a
Yeah, there it is.
hodgepodcast. I like that. I like that. Well, I mean, we got a lot of topics and a lot of things that we're going to be talking about. And the reality is that the people are not ready, man. So I feel like we need to scale this thing back, make it make sense, and have a real life conversation in relation towards, what's happening in the world. I think a lot of things is happening in the world and people confused about it. And maybe they're super woke, right?
Are they
And
super not woke?
are they super not woke? And it's just like, I want to talk about it, man. And we got it ordered
Yeah,
out in a list.
I've been itching to talk about it too. You know what
Uh,
I'm saying? Like we definitely in the upside down world, but I digress. Let's
All right, so let's start out with Get Out. Let's just start out with the movie Get Out
go.
and the sunken place, right?
Ooh,
Wasn't
ooh.
that like the first time that the masses was woke up and more or less tapped into a disposition, like on a main stage where it was, this is what it is. It's these set of people versus these set of people, and these set of people don't like each other, and they ain't never liked each other, and it's about to be some shit popping off. Am I wrong in that assessment? Or
No,
I'm
I
talking
think you
about
might
like the
be.
new version of what's that shit called? What's that movie called with the first movie ever came out that boosted up Hollywood? Something about a
Oh,
nation. Birth
Birth
of
of a
a Nation.
Nation. Birth of a
But
Nation.
didn't Birth of a Nation come out that same time though?
Yeah, yeah. It that it pointed more or less towards a ritual than it did towards a coincidence. And no, I think you're right and exact. I think if anything, you're being a bit too modest about it. Like uh Get Out
Mm-hmm.
was the first time people were able to maybe get a clear look at what being mesmerized is.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, the level in which the other people were willing to go to do the things that they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Like the liberal quote unquote Obama supporter
Hmm. Hmm.
is not a good person. Cause up
Mm-mm.
until that point, the viewpoint of these particular people, and I'm not trying to ruffle no feathers. I'm just looking at
But
the
ruffles and feathers. But ruffles and feathers.
I'm just looking at the art of it, right? The art
Hmm.
is basically saying that white people will go to crazy lengths to put black people under hypnosis. Fair to say?
Hmm. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
is that just in a movie or does that play out in real life? And if it plays out in real life, what are some of the real ways that our people are being hypnotized? And I want to just bring it to like a listener,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
in what ways is a particular generalized listener being hypnotized and being brought apart, being brought to the sunken place in 2021 in real world America?
Oh man. Really just take your pick, right?
Right.
Uh it's prevalent everywhere because the narratives don't change. It's only the circumstances under which those narratives change. So when you talk about a person being manipulated and a person being mesmerized and being put under a spell, well, it's pretty much when your emotions become invested in that thing you're looking at,
And
right?
it's an illusion though.
Yes, it's the illusion, but you don't know that
You
it's
don't
an
know it's an
illusion.
illusion. That's a
No,
spell.
you're invested in the idea of the image and the portrayal of whatever it is, that thing that you're paying attention to.
Hmm.
So the severity of that thing is the reality of not knowing you're under a spell,
Hmm.
and then therefore beginning to think that you can make a decision, or make a judgment, or even come up with a critical thinking opinion that's based off of something that's from you, as opposed to something that's been given to you.
Hmm. Right. Because so let's talk about Loki real quick. If you
Hmm.
haven't seen Loki, real quick.
I have.
Okay, so you know about the Time Variance Authority, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then the girl from Lovecraft Country, which was canceled yesterday, right? Season
Hmm.
two.
Hmm. Hmm.
Officer B-15, right? I don't
Hmm.
know her
Officer
name,
B-15. Hmm.
right? She was like the number one officer for the TVA, correct?
Yep.
So before I get lost, because I don't want to do parables and analogies and lose people. That's you at your job, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Your job created you. It birthed you. It made you into the person that you are today. Fair or not, right?
Absolutely.
Your job got you your home. Your job got you your
Hmm.
car. Your job
Hmm.
is your sanctuary, right?
Hmm.
And don't even say your job, just say your business, because the idea of a business is just you as an independent contractor for America.
Hmm.
And what you get from your business is the same thing that a nigga would get from working. The only
Pretty
thing
much.
is you work more hours for yourself and get paid less.
Yes, that gives you the weak end.
Hmm. So ultimately, you're talking about a system that you buy into, that you believe in, and ultimately you would shoot somebody for. That's what B-15 represent, and representing being able to tap into the quantum world, being able to tap into your memories and things of that nature.
Mhm.
And that's what the enchantress gave her the ability to do. And once she told her, this place didn't create you, sis, you created yourself, she began to unfoil the plot. So
Mhm.
ultimately, I would say that in reference to the spell, it would be really tied into your jobs, right? The way you
Yeah,
make your money, right? Your
yeah.
businesses and
Your
things of that
everyday. It's your everyday.
that has you in a particular spell and you don't realize it because maybe is it benefiting you or the perception is that it's benefiting you, but you're isolated and separated and then in a state of ignorance. And then when it comes to the time that you spend, we have 24 hours a day. But
Hmm.
let's do a watch time on your phone,
Hmm.
right? So we're into Instagram, we're into TikTok, and I'm not better than nobody, right? But I
Hmm.
am saying that I can understand how these particular things are programs that are centered on maybe not dissuading me or pushing me to the side because I'm got knowledge of self. I'm woke out here in these streets. I'm going to the park. I'm meditating, but I'm just one person. Let's think
Hmm.
about the communities, right, that we
Hmm.
live in, right? Are these systems and these spell work affecting them, our young youth, our young men, and our young women?
Hmm. Absolutely.
So,
There's no question about that.
isn't it powerful though? Is my thing like it's a powerful tool. So, and I guess with this conversation, because we got a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna move off
Hmm.
of Get Out and I'm gonna move to Watchmen. But ultimately, I want us to begin to think about the different spells that's out there,
Hmm.
and then understand that the things that these people have done are the things that we could do on the benefit side of it. So as we lay
Yeah.
these things out, we then are saying that they're doing this. Now, if you got a problem with it, then you may be projecting your power on somebody else. and it's time to take back your power. I'm not saying that hypnotism is bad, but I'm saying y'all not consistent with y'all hypnotism, right? They
Hmm.
consistent with theirs. They on the
Every day,
TV with the HD, 4K,
every
3D
day,
screen on your
every day,
mind. If you turn
every
on your
day.
cable television right now, every channel got something popping on it to pull you away from source. Fair?
Yep, yep.
So, and it may not be you, super woke guy or super woke sis, but in reference to connecting with your family and friends, you would then say that this spell is getting too deep. So let's tap into Watchmen, right? Do you
Hmm.
want to give backdrop or you want me to give backdrop?
Backdrop to
Just
no, you
this,
do the
just the
backdrop.
synopsis, real quick.
You do the backdrop because this is your thing.
This is
So
not my
I'm
thing.
following.
This is not my thing.
It's our thing.
This is
We're
not my
following the
thing,
lead.
though.
It's
Those.
our thing, and we're following the lead of the people. We're not gonna argue on it, even though. Uh, yeah, we just following the lead of the people. So yeah, give it a backdrop, and then we can go back and forth.
So basically, Watchmen, right? We're just you. If you haven't seen the show, watch the show. But we're gonna fast forward to episode 6, right? In episode 6, the irony of Hooded Justice being the source of all superheroes in the Watchmen role, but being a melanated man, but also being in love with the non-melanated man was the ultimate irony. But I'm gonna just leave that where it's at. Hooded
Hmm.
Justice is in episode 6 being tapped into by his great granddaughter, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
His great granddaughter takes some nostalgia pills and then she's tapped into her grandfather's DNA and she's seeing the things that he's doing. And so we're seeing out the eyes of his granddaughter, right? In the body of the grandfather. Okay?
In the body of the grandfather.
Right. So, long story short, we get to the end of episode 6, and Hooded Justice is about to unfoil a plan. And mind you, that this plan, the Cyclops plan, and this secret, let's keep this in mind as we talk about the spell of America. We gonna be here for a while, so please get some popcorn, get your blunts rolls. We didn't warn you or pre-warn you. We got a lot to talk about, and
Hmm.
honestly, man, we've been talking about this shit for the past 2 weeks. But I've been kind of going back and forth from Boston. But I guess everything is in right and exact with spirit. But
Hmm.
long
Yes,
story
it is.
short, end of episode 6, right? Hooded Justice storms into the Cyclops meeting, and he don't know the plan, right? He this whole time we've been watching this show, and we do not know what the Cyclops plan is. It's like little iterations, little tidbits, little clues. But at this particular point, we see what the plan is. So let's show the plan real quick.
I put a spell on you.
Again, all Negroes are your enemy. Attack them. Do not bring harm to any white man, woman, or child. Only each
Not
other.
showing on their screen yet.
Nah,
Fight
it's
viciously.
Okay.
Hate them. Do not stop until their blood covers your hands. And then hit yourself. Again and again and again.
I put a spell on you.
so he was saying all of this stuff in the background of the messages. And this is what we need to understand as a people. If you hearing Future, if you hearing Drake, if you hearing these rappers talking about, I'm gonna kill this person, I'm gonna take this woman, I'm gonna take this thotty, I'm gonna do this crazy horrible thing, right, and get away with it. The people who are saying the messages did not come up with the messages. Right, help me out.
Oh, well, the the powers that be will always send the lower level people out to do the dirty work, right? They're never going to send out the people who implemented the plan to do the work. They're always going to send out the people that they can actually do without having, like the expendable people. So it's always the lower level individuals that are made to implement these so-called plans and to trickle it down through different levels of society. It's not just going to come from the top and then go right to you. No, they have to put smoke screens up. They had to add veils. They have to create programs in order for you to divert your attention in one way so they can circumvent that energy from another way. Like it doesn't come from the top. It starts at the top, but you only see it from the smallest level.
So what is on the mindset of a young man that is, in your opinion, bro, because that's all we can really truly understand at this particular point in this moment. But in your opinion, what makes a little boy decide that I'm gonna follow the mindset of Frederick Douglass versus I'm gonna follow? Let me backtrack and bring it into modern. What is the determining factor of a child following Russell Wilson as an icon versus following Future as an icon, in your opinion? And I'm gonna just put my thinking. I'm just saying, like, give it a detail of a person who is going to follow Russell Wilson versus a detail of a person that's going to follow somebody like. Because a mom or a dad might really be interested in why my kid is thugging right now, and I want him to play football.
Well, the thugging aspect comes from lack of attention. So the kid that is going to follow Russell Wilson is the kid that has been reinforced into believe in himself, right? That's the kid that has been reinforced into believing in himself and doing things for himself and to striving for something great. The kid that is going to follow Future is the kid that probably has zero attention, he has zero guidance, and he has zero parental control as far as somebody who is going to sit there and actually pay attention to what they're doing all of the time. So the kid that's following Future is the kid that gets no attention. The kid that's following Russell Wilson is the kid that gets all of the attention.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like one is good, one is better than the other, because I've seen positives in Future and I see positives in Russell, and then vice versa.
You could get all the attention and still be the wrong attention.
Right. And you could be getting no attention, and I'll give you time to work on your craft, and you don't really necessarily need to be bothered.
Give you time to discover yourself.
Right. But I say that to say it's like we're put in this place all the time. And I think it started with Pardon the Interruption on ESPN. And then from there, the one with Skip Bayless and what's his face? Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. First Take. And then it went from First Take to Undisputed. So it went from Pardon the Interruption, First Take, and then now it's Undisputed. But ultimately, you want to get a strong masculine black male. And then you want to get an authoritative white male, right? And you want them to argue with one another. And I'm not trying to rile people up, but that's the truth, right? It's this disposition that's put in front of you. Now, if you a man in America, you watch these shows or have watched these shows once upon a time in your life, right? It's just part of the routine. You just might click on a video on YouTube just to see, because they might be talking about your favorite player or your favorite team. And they always have a difference of opinion. But what we have to begin to understand is that these programs that have us choosing which side we going to be on is not right and exact with reality. Because what's right and exact with reality? We need to figure out ways to come together. And how do we sit and find ways to come together if we constantly going back and forth? But this ties back into the conscious community with the debate culture. Before we got to this place that we are in today, where everybody is Hotep, everybody that's here that's talking about this consciousness is because one side won and one side lost. Because if King Tesseract in the ISUPK one of them lectures versus what's his face, Brother Polite, we'll be
Brother
sitting
for life.
here. We'll be sitting here talking about Hebrew stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Brother Polite won the lecture, so now we talking about
Mm-hmm.
Hotepian Egyptian stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that
Mm-hmm.
if the Hebrews were more charismatic and knew how to speak to the hearts of the melanated hearts and minds, then their message would have been more affirmative, and we would be talking about these here. So what I'm saying is, it's peaceful now, just like America, right? We walk around America and we say it's a peaceful country, right? For the most part. But it was brought about of war. You understand that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even the conscious community was a war at one time. And the best man won. More of the Hotepian occult conscious community and not the Bible thumpers. Because trust me, there was a point in time where the Bible thump, you from New York, so you know
Yes.
about the Hebrew Israelites running the streets.
Fulton Street every day, and all black, cursing out anybody who walked past them that wasn't skin folk, kinfolk. Yep.
And it is a lot of melanated people today that hold the Hebrew Israelite mantle and will speak in the terms of Hebrew thought, right? You'll see it a lot on Facebook and Instagram, meaning that if they had charismatic leaders, your ass would be a Hebrew Israelite too, but y'all not ready to have this conversation because we're talking about the spell of America, and we're talking about the background of why you think the way you think and why you believe what you believe, and not understanding that the Wizard of Oz in the background is manipulating it. And if you cannot point him out, then that means he's manipulating you at a certain level. So at
At
your
a high
job,
level, at a very high level,
uh-oh.
at a very high level. If you can't point that thing out, then you're being manipulated at a very high level.
So how does it show up? Men versus women. Is that a prevalent topic?
Absolutely, psyop.
Is you choosing a side on that? Because I'm a
I
man.
choose kind violence. I choose kind violence.
Okay,
I choose kind violence.
so since you're a man, you red pilled in. Forget you then.
Nope. No, I'm not.
All right.
No, I'm
so
not.
Is racial a divisive issue?
For the ones who believe in it, absolutely.
Psychological operation. Poor versus
Absolutely.
rich.
Absolutely.
See, the poor versus
Absolutely.
rich grinds my gears because we can easily become rich, but we too busy fronting for each other. Does that make sense?
I want to stop you right there.
Go ahead.
We are rich. We are rich right now.
Exactly.
Okay. Very short insert. Okay. There is no way possible in the world that you people that claim to be poor and needing help and needing money and needing all of this stuff are the same people that equate to 80%, more than 80% of the money spent yearly. So let me back that up and say that again. Maybe it got too convoluted in the way that I said it. You cannot scream poor and be number one in spending money. Does that make sense?
And number one in isolation, but I digress.
And number one in isolation, but I digress.
So what
You just can't have it.
So how can we be in, this is a question that I always ask myself because I never come up with the answer, so I'm gonna ask you, how can we get over our egos? Because there's people who say, you know what, Kyrie, I like your content, I'll do you one better. I just posted a video on another person's platform and that video is close to 10,000. Now I could post the same video on my platform and get 100 views on it, okay? So it's never about the views with me because I understand who I am. But what is how could a person reduce their ego, meaning to say, I'm not going to judge you, Ra, for who you are, but I understand that people need each other on a one-on-one understanding.
Differences between, are you ego-led or is the ego just a part of you?
Right.
So the thing that winds up happening is that people get to a certain level of hearing information, and either their ego is telling them to shut it off and stop because their ego doesn't want to hear it anymore, or they're going to question it because they're just not sure. Now, if you're questioning it because you're just not sure, that's understandable because anything that's new is frightening the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, but if you're ego led, if you're led by your ego, then none of this stuff comes through the frequency. None of this stuff comes through the airwaves. None of this stuff matters, because you're going to get to a particular point in which your ego feels threatened, and you're going to shut everything down.
Right. And you can sense that at all times, right? You always aware of that. So it's very important if you sense that in your family and your friendships.
People say it all the time.
To begin to speak to it.
They say triggered. Why do they say triggered?
But sometimes people are triggered and think to, if you not doing the chakra work, Chakra Nova in stores, ColumbianExchange.com. But you have the fight or flight, right? So when you're triggered, you might fight, right? You might say, let's bang. But a large majority of people will run into flight. So let's talk about, because we're going to be talking about some relationships at the end. So you're going to want to stick for this whole long ass broadcast, because we just two brothers that got a lot of shit to say, and hopefully y'all don't mind. But if you do mind, there's other things to watch. But I digress. When you start talking about relationships and things of that nature, people are very triggered, and they will leave that person the moment things aren't going right. Almost to the point that, let's just say, I'm gonna use an analogy, but tell me if this analogy makes sense. Men are bears, right? And bears will eat you, right? When a woman dates a man, she is essentially hoping that he doesn't do any bear shit. But men are smart bears, right? Intelligent bears, meaning that they can shut down their bare necessities, a simple nature's recipe.
Oh, you did that on purpose. You
About
did that
your
on purpose.
worries and your strife.
You did that on purpose.
I
You
mean,
did that on purpose.
bare necessities.
I didn't know we're in the commercial portion, y'all. We're in the commercial portion.
King of the Jungle. It was a John McAfee channel.
You know what? Go ahead. Let it happen. Go ahead.
It was John McAfee on that one. But I
Happened.
Okay, so the woman gets with the bear man, intelligent bear man. So the relationship is predicated entirely on this man not being a bear. But as much as you try to not be a bear, that bear is in you. So until you're able to be honest about your bare necessities, the simple recipe, you're not going to be able to be true in your relationship, because you may not know it and your partner may not know it, that she's expecting you to not be your true self, and you're trying to conform into not being your true self to make her happy, to make her feel safe, because you know you a bear, and you know you like to eat things, and you know she know you like to eat things, so everybody is on pins and needles, making sure you don't attack and do no bear shit. But the moment that Tatalicious come walking past smelling like honey and fresh salmon, fresh out the lake, right? And now you gotta go home.
I'm trying to hold it in, but you keep trying to make me laugh. Go ahead, man.
Nah, I'm saying now you gotta go home with Tatalicious on your mustache.
On your cabbage. Yes. And
I'm saying all of this to say, it's very easy to position a man versus woman conversation when you don't understand the mechanics of manhood. It's very easy to put down a man versus women conversation when you do not know the mechanics of divine feminine energy.
Can I be violent?
Be violent, bro.
All right. So here's the thing, right? We want to have conversations, or we say we want to have conversations about men and women, right? However, the conversations are only had on a general term.
Of course.
Right? So what is a conversation on a general term? It's just an echo chamber. It means nothing.
It means zero.
Right? It means zero. So we can sit here and talk about all of these hypotheticals until we're blue in the face, right? But until one real individual is ready to put up what they have on the line versus another individual who has something else to put up on the line, and those individuals come together and make everything known to one another, what we're talking about is irrelevant because nobody really wants to have the conversation.
We
right?
on the purple pill section, bro. We
on the purple pill section. We on
dog.
the purple pill section.
We got to the.
I'll say this wholeheartedly. We are in the purple pill section. Purple pill.
Not the red blue. Not the red
Not
pill.
the red or the blue. We in the purple pill.
Purple
loyalty.
Pill.
Royalty and loyalty. Okay?
Royalty, loyalty, vulnerability.
Yes. We in the divine space.
DNA,
right?
Activation, things of that nature.
So if we're just gonna talk around the topic and we're not gonna actually talk about these topics, because one thing that is a reoccurring theme in everything that I watch, and maybe I'm just too opinionated based on what I watch and because I'm a media guy, whatever, I digress. But when I'm looking at this stuff, what I look at is I see nobody having any real conversations. I see people having conversations based off of hypotheticals. So if you're having a conversation based off a hypothetical, how is that going to pertain to anything realistically that connects to your life?
But understand that if I gave you the condition, it's like a maze, right? I give you a maze, and in that maze, I'm leading you to a roadblock. And then I know for a fact that you're gonna hit this roadblock. How do I know you're gonna hit this roadblock? Because
I set it up.
Because you do not have a positive response for a negative reaction. It's not encoded within the music.
No, it doesn't fit with the tantra of sound.
No, cater to you ain't relevant when you in reference to, well, I'm not catering to him because when I catered to my last man, he treated me like stuff. So once again,
and pay my bills is not relevant when the only thing you have to offer is pussy.
But let's table that. Let's table that.
I'm gonna put that on the side.
Let's table that. Because
that's
an interesting. We gotta really talk about that. But
I digress.
Do you want to go to the purple pill and then come back?
I mean, we can do whatever you feel like.
I feel like we need to go to purple pill because this is where the energy is at for some reason, and then we can go back to John McEnany a little later.
I'm with you.
With it.
I put a spell on you.
I'm with you.
So, family, what we gonna do is play a series of videos. We gonna play blue pill, red pill, and then we gonna do purple pill. We want you to watch all of these videos with your full attention because it's gonna be a quiz afterwards. All right, so let's tap in. Pay attention, family.
Coming home to a curated home where you are king of your castle, where it looks good, it smells good, there's a hot meal, you don't have to worry about where your clothes are, they're clean, they're hanging up, everything's organized, your kids are clean, they've done their homework, those things, I'm the woman for you. I really believe a woman's role is to curate a safe, very comfortable, loving home.
So I cater to you by Destiny's Child. No, I'm kidding.
Well, now, yeah.
I don't think a man can make a house a home.
Yeah, I believe that's a woman's role. That said, I'm not paying no mortgage. No, I'm not paying no mortgage. I'm dead ass.
Not even half?
Not even $5. Not even $5
What about bills? You paying some bills?
Not even $5.
What about
I'm not ever gonna laugh about that.
I'm dead. Emily, I'm dead.
I'm dead ass. What you do get is this. You do not get that.
That person has taken me from one space or level in my life to another, so I'm forever grateful. And I also, in the same note, feel like if I was to ever be in the space that I could repay in any way, shape, or form, that I would. You know what I mean? But and the other side of me is like, you can't take it back anyway, so it doesn't matter because you've already placed me at this space. So it's like, yeah, unless you want me to fake be with you to keep my shit, then let's just be friends, and it didn't work, and that's that. But you got to continue to, your credit is gonna get messed up. I don't know.
Lobbying to end eviction protections so that they can acquire even more houses, adding to the housing demand and homelessness problems at the same time. With single-family homes out of reach for the average working American, the media has begun trying to frame perpetual renting as a good thing, something that benefits young people. The problem there is that even renting is becoming prohibitively expensive. There are now officially 0 counties in the entire country where a worker earning the federal minimum wage can afford a 1-bedroom apartment. Even for those making significantly more than minimum wage, things are looking pretty grim. There's a common joke that goes something like, the bank said I couldn't afford an $1,800 a month mortgage, so now I pay $3,000 a month in rent.
Woo! Woo! Okay, man, so we gonna unpack this, man. Let's start first with Ebony K. Williams, then let's go to Blue Jasmine, and then let's talk about the purple pill. Now, to set this up, the blue pill is your overall belief in your system, in your job, in your family, in your house, in your neighborhood, in your country. Happy Independence Day, no pun intended. And then red pill is about the things that you educate yourself, your wokeness, the things that make you better than the person who is blue pill. What if I told you that both of those things are actually wrong because the person that's learning about how to, do fart bubbles is no different from the person who's learned how to astral project and talk about deep stuff all the time on YouTube, butt naked and things of that nature. But I digress. I say it's a such thing as mental materialism where you can learn too much stuff to the point that you just a big fart bubble yourself, but I digress.
Oh my God.
But I'm from the old school. I'm from the old school, bro. I'm about being present.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about being in the now. And in the now, I have 2 hands. So if I can't carry that within my 2 hands, then I'm not going to carry it. Meaning that I may not know something in reference to the present moment. And that's okay because my soul is saying that I don't need to know it. So family, do not look at these people on YouTube like they know more than you.
Ever.
And deify yourself. But in reference to Miss Ebony K. Williams, in reference to, I love your take on this, bro. Please spew.
All right.
Spew.
All right. So,
spew.
All right. So
and choose violence.
I did that clip because my big bro wanted me to get, production like savvy. So I've been practicing with clips and I found that clip and I posted that clip and my TikTok blew up off of that clip. Right? And I couldn't understand why, because people probably didn't understand the purpose as to why I even posted the clip, but I digress, right? So I watched it, and I watched it in its entirety before I even started making clips and posting. And what I ultimately got triggered by, shadow work, and I felt offended by, is the reality that she says that she is an independent woman, lawyer, school, PhD, blah, 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 right? All of this stuff. And then she said, if you're a man that values this kind of stuff, and I felt like she was smacking me in the face. And then she said, curate a home. Hold up. So let me just backtrack and just say this outside of being emotional, because I'm not triggered no more. My big girl talked me out of it. I was raised by a single mother. Okay.
Me too.
In every relationship I have been in, I have done my own wash. I've cooked my own food. I have watched my own kids. Like if I'm not watching my own kids, then yeah, she was the stay-home person. But still, all in all, like I was always available. And I never remember an argument about curating a home.
See, it do sound like they want an old ass nigga who can't move.
But I'm trying to figure this out.
Nah,
like, how could
I'm
that
thinking
be something?
they're talking about old dudes. They're talking
How
about
could that
very
be?
old.
How
old
could
men.
that be? How could that be a plus to bring to the table?
I mean, I don't think this is the thing.
Let me back up. Let me back up.
This
Let me
is the
back up
thing,
and say
though.
this.
This is the thing,
Okay,
though.
go ahead.
Because it's very it's like I don't think that women honestly think that if you can do it for yourself, then you don't qualify that as being a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you could be with the woman and she clean up every day, right? But the same way, a woman is not going to factor in the money that you spend. Like, not going to think about it. Just overall, like, if you're, like, I'll give you an example. If you're a scam artist, right? But you provide a particular lifestyle, you're more easier to get things to go for you. You know what I'm saying? Because of the image. But if for any instance you were to get arrested or your scam was to fall off, so would the women. Because it's never about what you do, right? It's always about what you give off, right? But I don't think that women are really taught to find the substance in a man, right? Or even to look for the substance in a man to a point that this is life, right? And life is hell. So ultimately, how can I provide this person with a positive personal experience? I also feel like if a person does not love themselves, meaning love them souls, right? That they can't love you. But when I say love themselves, women say I do love myself because I'm so beautiful. But when I say love yourself, I'm being specific to the non-physical entity that could never be your physical appearance, sweetheart. It's your non-physical. It can never be a physical experience or a physical expression. It is sitting within your meditation and getting downloads and cues from spirit. Now, ultimately,
their love is not found in glamour.
Exactly, but I don't think that they're being taught. So generally, when I'm bringing forth this conversation, I think that as a man, it'll be more mindful to think of it and speak to it in a way that you can never know what you don't know. Right?
Yeah.
But that goes back to the maze. That goes back to the maze, though. If you don't know a man, you would never figure out a man. But go ahead.
But also, to be fair, it's the same on the other side, right? Like on the other side of the coin, the man isn't exactly particular in knowing what he actually wants.
That's the key. That's
right?
That's very
important.
So the
man has an issue with knowing exactly what he wants, and the woman has an issue with knowing how to process her emotional intake with everything that's coming from this rational male, right? So it's like, it's a give and take thing that nobody wants to give and take on. So like when I talk about Ebony K. Williams, it's not me saying that Ebony K. Williams is wrong for her opinion and how she feels about her outlook on having a relationship. No, I'm saying that if you're telling me that's all you're bringing to the table, then that plus your vagina is not enough.
But a woman doesn't. But this goes back to education. A woman thinks that all you want, Racine, is to slide in them guts, right? This is. I know you. I know you. That's not what you want. But in a woman's mind, this is all you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if she's taught that this is all you want, she will never develop a personality. She will never develop compassion of understanding the world that we live in more than being either the best catch or the best rejecter of masculine energy, right? Because she either craves masculine energy or she hates masculine energy for what it represents, because you fear what you do not understand. And so when you demonize masculine energy, that's just a lack of education. And if you are angry at a man, it's because you don't understand him. And it's like, if I understood how to open a lock, I would not be frustrated if the door didn't open, because I would easily unlock the lock. But if I did not know how to unlock the lock and I wanted that door open, that's me being frustrated. So in relationships, men and women, because I've done this, it didn't never work, but journal my ideal wife. As if I was about to degrade myself, but let me degrade myself in an exponential form in the imaginary realm, deserved the perfect person. As if, what was I going to do with the perfect person in the whole wide world when I wasn't the perfect person? And it's just like going back to the spell that we're under. I wanted what I seen in the rap videos, big bro.
Mm-hmm. We all did. We all did. There's not a person that would be telling you the truth that said they didn't.
But isn't that a pre-programmed ideology in reference to, you know, and being a scholar like Booker T. Washington?
And that's why you can't judge people for being where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what people do. You know, people judge you for where you're at based on what you do and don't know, so to speak. And even though these other people may know these things and they have the opportunity to plant the seed and to help bring you along, they would rather judge you for not being where they're at as opposed to bringing you along to try and help put you where they're at.
Can the ladies be curious?
Absolutely.
Can the men be curious? I'm just asking, like, in the space of like encouraging people to be curious about people as opposed to projecting on people, you know, as opposed to them, you know, expecting them to pay your bills and pay your rent. And it's
we live in a society where people feel like they shouldn't be questioned.
But
right, you don't have the right to question me based on what I've been through.
But dog, it's like, it's so important for people to unify in these times because that's the only thing that's succeeding, right? Mm-hmm. And black people are the most isolated people. And it's like, you know, if we can't get past these particular barriers, it's going to make it a lot difficult for us moving forward. And generally, you know, we can be happy that things are getting back to normal, but in reference to what we have just been through over this past year and a half,
what the fuck is normal?
Yes, and when I was tapped in and tuned into that frequency during the time, they said 2021 and 2022 was going to be worse.
Worse than 2020.
Yes. It's not a point where this shit is over with. It's more or less we were warned, right? We were warned.
Plenty of time.
We were warned extensively that being alone isn't the move. Mm-mm. Learning how to leverage your... Go ahead.
Independence is a fallacy.
It's a fallacy.
It's a fallacy. And I want to say this. Women have this thing in which they want to implement the idea of being independent, and which is beautiful. And then you have this whole barrage of women who want to emphasize their idea of what they think masculinity is. Oh, they're more masculine than their man. They're more masculine than their counterpart. If I can explain one thing to those women and every woman who thinks that her independence takes her into masculinity and then gives her the right to justify judging another man based on his lack thereof or unintentional idea of being able to be a masculine man, like that's a joke. Like, you started from a propped up position. And even though you were able to do things on your own, that idea of the independency tells the man that you don't need him. So every time you want to talk about your independence, you can't talk about your independence and say you're trying to get a man, because the man hears, when he hears independence, he hears you don't need me.
And even if he doesn't hear it, he's going to feel it. He's going to feel it.
He's going to see it.
He's going to feel it and see it.
You want to talk about your schooling and your PhDs and all your accomplishments, and all of those things are beautiful, right, and exact and wonderful, and you should be lauded for those things. But those things don't give you the right to supersede over a man because he doesn't have those things. And it doesn't give you the right to judge that man because he doesn't have those things. So, and on the flip side, it's the same thing for the men. Like this Kevin Samuels stuff that you guys are loving right now is a psyop, right? Mm-hmm. This idea that every woman needs to be accountable for everything that she's done in the past is some simp shit. All right. The reality is that the past has already happened. And you're not going to get no aha moments from none of these fake gurus and none of these fake relationship counselor dudes who are pushing one narrative and on one side and no budge room whatsoever. You're not going to get any reality from these people because they have a narrative that they are selling. So we need to understand and be realistic. Like, don't quote Kevin Samuel. I understand men have never had the implementation of a male teaching them about relationships the same way a woman has never had the implementation of being able to learn how to be there for a man or to be with a man. So it goes both ways. There is no one person deserves more blame than the other. That's all I want to say.
I mean, you talking about Red Pill, which ties into education, which says you're in this matrix and this is how you can optimize your matrix experience, right? And Blue Pill would believe in this matrix experience for however it is or however it looks. But then if we get to a deeper reality of, you know, purple pills, right? What's that purple pill that purple stuff like Big Mo and them was drinking on and stuff like that? That's pulling you out of the matrix. Now, this is the thing. I can only speak from experience, and I can only speak from truth, is that in reference to me tuning into my royalty, activating my DNA, doing the chakra work, doing the shadow work, and really living these things out, it helps me in a lot of different areas. It helps me in a lot of different ways, right? And the reality of it helping me is not because of anything based upon the Matrix, because the Matrix been telling me to kiss its ass ever since I was born, right? I never was accepted in none of these things, and Red Pill and Blue Pill, where, you know, you just have the college degree and things of that nature and all of this esteem and all of that. I never had that. So in reality, to, you know, Red Pill versus Blue Pill, I never was in any of those clubs. But it's just, for me, it's like, you don't need to particularly be in these clubs. You don't need to tap into these particular thought forms, because they're not going to speak to your specific DNA and your specific relationship. And if you was to incorporate the things that Kevin Samuels is saying to your wife, then if your ass is out on the streets homeless, right? Because you came in the house, right? Yeah, you've been married to this girl for however many years, but she had a kid. That never was an issue to you because you loved that woman so much, right? The man start listening to Kevin Samuels, right? He at work, you know, at his factory job, because he hate his job, but he get to listen to his earplugs, right? He listening to his earplugs, right? And he just listening to how women without kids ain't shit. Now, he hates himself, he hates his job, but Kevin Samuels is giving him an out. It's your wife, right? It's your wife, and it's her baby daddy, and it's her kid, correct? So now he comes home, you not shit, you not that, your baby daddy this and that's da-da-da-da-da, right? He ain't on the lease, he don't pay no bills, he just got the job at the factory 2 weeks ago, but he been listening to Kevin Samuels, and Kevin Samuels looks very nice. Kevin Samuels is in a nice layout. The niggas that's listening to him is living with the girls who have the babies by the baby daddies, and they need to be grateful, right? They need to be happy, right? But Kevin Samuels, since he's a psyop, he's making it impossible for black people to be unhappy. So let's run the rundown to Kevin Samuels so y'all don't think I'm crazy. He says it himself, he went to college. He says it himself, he went to a fraternity. So you tell me how this makes sense. How many Greek people is signing up to be in African fraternities? I'll wait.
Please, I'll wait too.
How many Greek people is you seeing doing tribal dances in the savannas and things of that nature? I will wait. Going on pilgrimages to parts of Africa to be a part of the African culture, or is they invested within a Greek culture? So you make it make sense to why a large percentage of our melanated population out here is pledging fraternity and sorority. And tell me, we here, y'all, give me a good excuse.
Please do. I will wait.
Give me a good excuse why I gotta deal
I will wait.
and go against these people who are educated, blue pill, right? Belief because their education is their validation. But let's talk about sorority and fraternity, right? Let's talk about the establishment of this country, and this country being established by university. Let's talk about Spelman. Let's talk about Morehouse. Let's talk about these HBCUs and the people whose name they after, not melanated people. Okay,
At all.
You tell me, make it make sense. Make it make sense. I go to a Chinese food store and it's called Kroger's.
Mm-hmm.
I go to Smith's and they selling goddamn French food.
Mm-hmm. You got Mexicans making pizza.
How did that make sense?
Listen.
I went to Luigi's and got a taco. It don't make sense. But to black people, we can go to a HBCU named after a person that's not melanated.
Mm-hmm. And justify being for this black
and
cause.
Justify it as a culture thing, bro. And then we can sign up to the sororities and fraternities and then be like, it's right and exact with our culture. Yet and still, the deep recesses in the undergrounds of these fraternities and these sororities is all about the suppression of the melanated people.
And protection to the queen. But that's another story. I digress.
And protection to the queen. Let's get into our conspiracy bag, bro.
Oh, we could do it. I just don't want to get people. I don't want to get people triggered.
Okay, do you want to do Blue Jasmine now?
Let's do Blue Jasmine, and then we can get into our conspiracy bag if you want.
Yeah, okay. So Blue Jasmine, I'm gonna do the video real quick. Let the people watch the video who haven't seen it, and then we'll talk about it real quick.
That person has taken me from one space or level in my life to another, so I'm forever grateful. And I also, in the same note, feel like if I was to ever be in the space that I could repay in any way, shape, or form, that I would. You know what I mean? But and the other side of me is like, you can't take it back anyway, so it doesn't matter because you've already placed me at this space. So it's like, yeah, unless you want me to fake be with you to keep my shit, then let's just be friends, and it didn't work, and that's that. But you got to continue to, your credit is gonna get messed up. I don't know.
So once again, people would never know what they don't know, and ultimately, a person might feel like watching this that it would be right and exact to expect a man to pay for their home, pay for their car, and all that they give them is a beautiful face, beautiful young lady, and probably some wonderful vagine. Now reality.
No, stop there.
Go ahead.
Before you go any further, she wasn't giving him wonderful vagine.
I understand, but I'm feeling
he was with another guy.
Yeah, I get it.
And he was paying for the lifestyle. Okay, I just wanted to
I get it. And her guy that she was with looked at the dude that was paying for the lifestyle as a sucker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm talking about the messaging. And I'm talking about the understandings of you'll never know what you don't know. And I know that a lot of women might imagine, like, this is the thing, men or women, so say for instance, if you a man or you a woman and you like, I'm happy being single. If you're happy being single, then that means you were single your whole life and you never got into a relationship. That's the only way you can say that you're happy being single. If you never got into a relationship and you was always happy because you knew that you was going to be happy single, and every day you woke up from the time that you was 18 and you could choose to be with somebody, and you said, you know what, I'm happy being single. I'm not going to be in a relationship with you. Okay? So you being happy being single after a relationship is a coping mechanism, and you have to actually deal with why you're coping. Why you have to now be happy outside of the relationship, but you can't be happy inside the relationship. Because the mentality. And then men not understanding. Because the dude probably is making logical sense. I'm going to take my car back. I'm going to take my house back because me and you are not together. But you have to understand, Racine, audience, my brothers out there, there is no woman in the world that just wants to have sex with you.
Never. She
never just wants to have sex with you. And if she wants to have sex with you, it's because there's an underlying effect. You are in a relationship with her. You are giving her some money. She like you.
Or there is potential for the future.
She might like you tomorrow if the sex is good.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a potential there. There is something on the side. See, men will have sex with you because it's raining outside.
Just because. Just because.
And you could have a relationship with a man, a sexual relationship with a man for 10 years and never know his mama name.
Never know his mama name.
That's just...
Ain't that some shit?
That's just DDD, you know.
That's just, you know. What does DDD stand for? Dirty dick? Never mind. I'm sorry.
I don't even want to go there today for some reason. I've been holding back very good today, bro.
My bad.
I've been holding back good, bro. It's just been a nice mellow conversation today.
I've been really good today. Nah,
but listen, bro.
All right, so we're gonna tackle this joint. Okay.
Let's tackle it, cause the country's going to shit. And if you and your Wiz wanted to buy a house, you couldn't buy a house right now, because go and look on every single house that's available right now.
You're going too fast.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's back up.
Back up. So slow me down, bro.
So there's a couple of things at play here. Okay, so she's talking about you brought her to a place, and just because you don't want to be with her, that you are not allowed to take her out of that place that you brought her to.
Right.
And when I first looked at the clip, I thought it was just a narrative-driven joint, and of course, you know, I just left it alone, and then I had to go back and listen to the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so I went back and I listened to the whole thing, and she's talking about a guy that she helped out do business work for, and they had a convenient professional relationship, but she still had another guy, and this guy was paying for her $4,000 a month apartment and $500 a month car, and whatever expenses that she had going shopping or whatever, leisure stuff, whatever. So one guy was paying for her lifestyle and expenses, and another guy she was getting sex from. Mm-hmm. She was in an actual relationship.
That was her dude.
That was her dude.
But he didn't have the money to afford the lifestyle, but I digress. Go
ahead. Regardless if he had the money or not, he looked at the other dude like a sucker. You a sucker too, because you're living under the house of somebody that's paying for you. So that's one thing. But I think what's the real big thing is that she thinks she's entitled.
Okay.
Right? She believes she's entitled to something.
Why does she think
just because she got it already. Mm-hmm. She didn't
Is
do
that a
nothing
normal
special.
Is that a normal behavior, or is she an exception to the rule?
That's insanity.
No, is that a normal behavior as you as a dating man and dating women? Do women feel entitled to your energy? And if you had your money together, would they expect you to do exorbitant things for them? Not saying if you have your money together, but in their imagination, in their projection, you got your money together, and because you got your money together, you should do something nice for them.
What's the thing that they like to say? Behind every good man is a strong woman, right? They like to say that, right? Mm-hmm. So those things could be completely true and correct. I don't know that they are or are not. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is that when you say that kind of thing, it speaks to entitlement.
Because I think what you're saying is that there is no specific positive program for giving men love.
No.
Like in the comments, what are some examples in society that specifically deal with, because in reference to, I could play the game like anybody else. I could do the money game, take you out game, and do all of these things. But in reverse, what is the thing for women to do for men outside of pussy? And this is where the disconnect is, because ultimately all men are bears. Mm-hmm. All men have the desire
here's the caveat to that. All men are bears. Mm-hmm. But the woman acts like she wants the cub, but she wants the silverback. Mm-hmm. Right? She wants the silverback, but she acts like she wants the cub.
Like she needs the cub because the silverback and the grizzly bear is violent. It's dangerous.
But you want violence in the bedroom.
You want a dangerous person to protect you.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't want nobody to be like, you know what, can y'all please step away from my home because me and my wife, we trying to chill and relax. You want a nigga to go,
and back all of that
and
up.
everybody running away.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say be real about it and tap into your primal desires and not imagine yourself to ever be happy with a person who is not a bear. Because you wouldn't be able to sleep at night, but you probably don't sleep at night. Come to think of it, if your man is passive. And it don't mean that he got to have a million guns, but do we do any type of spiritual protection? Do we do any type of mental protection, legal protection? Or he just up in that pussy, right? And then
here's the thing.
He going to
women
sleep.
Women always talk about the lack of masculinity, and they always like to talk about, simps and betas and stuff like that. But the woman doesn't realize that she has the power to encourage that beta or that simp to an alpha level. She doesn't realize that she possesses that power.
But then again, I think it's two things. A man has to want to tap into his alpha and protect his family and his tribe. He has to see that grizzly bear within himself. Everybody has to come to the table like, you gonna let my masculinity. You gonna let
my. He
has
to be the hunter. The man has to be the hunter.
You gotta get up out that house every single day.
He has to be the hunter.
And you can't be texting him like, "Where you at? Why you not?"
I need attention right now. No.
I'm giving you my negative emotions. You should be here, like giving me love and things of that nature. But yet, if
you want him to be his best, do you leave him the time to become his best?
That's a hard thing.
And you help create that space for him to become his best.
That's a hard thing. That requires trust. That requires trust.
But if the
you gotta trust that man.
But if the objective is just for me to point the finger, right? We live in a competition society. This is another part of the spell, right? Competition society. So you count your goods and your not good, so to speak. You count what a person does and doesn't do, right? The problem with the competition society is that you're keeping score for a game that never has gone on, never has taken place, right? So you're judging this man based off of what society is telling you this man is supposed to do, or you're judging this woman based on what society says this woman is supposed to be doing. But neither one of y'all are having that intimate conversation about what do we want.
It's like living in Mad Max, right? This shit is Mad Max. This shit is Mad Max. And motherfuckers is like, well, I need the higher echelons. I need a person that's gonna be da 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 and blah 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 and da 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 da. And it's like, look, I need a dune buggy, I need a sawed-off shotgun, I need rations, I need some sand protector. Cause every time I go out and about, everybody dusty. Like, and let's talk about this. I don't know. Have y'all been out? If y'all been outside in the comments, do people look weird to y'all, or am I just tripping? That's just a question. Say yes or no in the comments. Maybe it's just me, but I've been traveling, bro, and people been looking weird everywhere I go, big bro. So
yeah, no, it's not just you. It's not just you. It just seems like people are out of whack and they don't realize that they're out of whack.
I mean, but it's hard. But bro, it is hard out here, and this is why I'm talking about the housing crisis.
But that's the reality. Nobody wants to be honest about it being hard out here.
Cause it's IG culture, bro. It's IG culture versus it's being fucking hard out here. And I'm like, I know it's hard out here. You can talk to me. You can build with me, cause it's hard out here for me. I know people project on me like, Hood Mystic, you got it all figured out. Absolutely not. Until I started this a long time ago, even when I was a Christian, bro, I said until motherfuckers is on the same accord on a spiritual level, my work is not done.
It'll never be done. I come to that conclusion a long time ago when we started this shit. Like, this shit will never be done, bro. This shit's like chakra work. You gotta do it every day. It's like shadow work. You gotta do it every day.
I asked my wife, we was, going through some stuff, and we gonna finish this conversation after this video, but she was just like, all right, so what's the next step? Like, how do you level up? And I was like, you ever seen 40th level water? He was like, no. I was like, you ever seen 13th level grass? She said, no. I said, you ever seen 20th level leaves? She said, no. I said, these things work on the cycle and we never get tired of it. But when it comes to our manifestations and the things that we want to bring into our lives, we get tired of the repetition of it. And I say, if you get tired of the repetition of manifestation, then you're not really built for this shit. Because motherfuckers want to do the super fantastical and the super spiritual. And that's where we came up. Because when I came into the spiritual, people was doing spells and rituals and things of that nature. And I'll tell you right now, that shit don't work in 2021. Let's argue. Go ahead.
Nope. It don't work. It don't work. And that's the reality. All of these fake ass spells and all of this circle drawing, all this silly shit that y'all doing, like this shit don't work. Because y'all trying to circumvent the work and just get the result. The problem is you people, again, love this competition society. So you can't get past the reality. You can't get past the idea of having to work for something. You have to have instant gratification. It's the Instagram world. You gotta have instant gratification. I gotta have it right now. If I can't have it right now, I'm gonna talk shit about you until I get it right now.
But that's a problem when the world is so fucked up and we need to have real conversations on how the fuck can we come together and figure out where we gonna live. First of all, where are we going to live?
Show that clip. Go to the next clip. Go to the next clip, because the people don't know what you're talking about.
Lobbying to end eviction protections so that they can acquire even more houses, adding to the housing demand and homelessness problems at the same time. With single-family homes out of reach for the average working American, the media has begun trying to frame perpetual renting as a good thing, something that benefits young people. The problem there is that even renting is becoming prohibitively expensive. There are now officially 0 counties in the entire country where a worker earning the federal minimum wage can afford a one-bedroom apartment. Even for those making significantly more than minimum wage, things are looking pretty grim. There's a common joke that goes something like, the bank said I couldn't afford an $1,800 a month mortgage, so now I pay $3,000 a month in rent.
So yeah, bro. Everybody talking about what they need a man for and all of this stuff, but I'm just like, man, how the hell is we going to do this and we don't even understand how corporations work? When corporations and being incorporating and things of that nature is so easy, but if we all got the clout, see, this is a thing. In none of the businesses that you ever seen in your life was they ever ran by one person. When you go into Kroger's, it's not no Jim Kroger saying, I do all of this shit. I stock the shelves. I butcher the meat. I ring you out. I take the business would fail if it was one person doing all of the things necessary for that business to thrive. But you need to figure out what your skill set is so you can just do that. What do you love to do? Begin to do that and figure out how you can connect with other people, or dare I say, get a fucking job.
Yeah.
Because you are not about to do all of this shit out here by yourself. And it is because you are taking the red pill or the blue pill, but you're not taking the purple pill. And the purple pill is the pill that Prince took. And you know how bad Prince was? I don't know where that came from, but Prince been coming through.
I liked it. I liked it.
Stupid hard. And he just like, yeah, purple pill, nigga, yeah. Let's get in. Yeah. Let's talk about this shit though. What's your perspective on it?
I think for the people that are aware, it's getting extremely difficult to want to, try and tell other people who aren't aware. And this ego thing that is holding up the people who aren't aware of stuff, right? It's becoming so difficult for people to want to even charter into those waters. Like, people don't even want to deal with it anymore. because everything is about glamour and everything is about what you have and everything is about what you accomplish, but nobody is trying to build any sort of ecosystems. Nobody is trying to come together and create anything.
What was you saying about the people who made all the money in our lifetimes and what they ain't never done? What was you saying? Like all of the rich people, you was saying something. You was like, they ain't never got no real institutions like the LeBron Jameses, the rich basketball, all of these people with all of this wealth. But then when you think about wealth in other communities, they are living off the successful people within their community, and they're sowing back into their communities, so everybody in that community is successful. When you go to Niagara Falls, there's a whole bunch of Hindu restaurants and Hindu pop-up shops, and then Hindu people going to the different restaurants, sowing into the Hindu businesses, right? Getting them some halal, getting them some goddamn curry, right? Where is the place where there is bunch of black businesses? Because don't tell me in these cities where there are black people that there are black businesses, because Corona shut all the black businesses out, right? They shut the businesses down, and if you needed products, you could only go to Walmart, you could only go to Target, you could only go to Home Depot, you could only go to Lowe's. Other than that, everything was flushed under the table. And then they gave you PPP loans and then said, you know what, guys? All of that money we gave you, we need all of that back, or we gonna come take over your business. So that's why a lot of businesses ain't open today, right? Because they can't pay back the government.
Yeah, and you just showed the video about the housing prices. So that all ties back into the whole spell thing, right? So people were really excited about getting so-called free money. Well, here's the thing: when you get free money, you still have to pay for the things that you need for your life, right? So if you have free money coming in, but you don't have a consistent flow of that money coming in, eventually that free money is going to run out. And what happens when the free money runs out? You're right back to the same place that you were in the beginning. And why is it that people continue to let people go on TV and talk to them and say all the nice things to them and make them feel good about their so-called African heritage and all this other stuff? But you don't let none of these people, you don't hold none of these people to the fire and tell them, all right, so where are any of the practical applications that are going to apply to our lives right here, right now, in this moment?
Crickets.
It's crickets. But you keep paying for these people to be on TV in front of you. You keep paying for these people to tell you the stuff that they're telling you to make you feel good. You keep paying for these people to stand up in front of you and say whatever it is that they want to say, even though they don't have your best interest at heart. But because it's a program, and that program is always going to come through with whatever videos and whatever, stuff that's going to make you feel good about yourself, you're going to keep buying into the program. You're going to keep paying for Netflix. You're going to keep paying for your
getting
cable.
Netflix. You're going to keep getting
You're
Disney. You're going to keep getting Amazon,
and
Hulu.
You're going to keep doing all that.
You're going to keep doing it.
But you're going to be working, trying to figure out how am I going to feed myself.
Bro,
how am I going to feed myself?
Make it make sense, Rod. Make it make sense, bro.
There is no way for you to make this make sense.
Make it make sense, bro.
It's the definition of insanity. People don't know that they're possessed.
It's very simple, bro.
They don't know that they're not free. They don't know that they're not free.
Unplug from the Matrix.
Yeah, you will justify paying for that thing that you don't need just because it gives you a simplistic level of comfort.
Since we here, bro, let's talk about it. Love is easy. You just need to get out your own fucking way and get over yourself and realize that don't nobody care about your negativity. If a person is going to deal with you off a stranger tip, then only way I'm going to deal with you off the stranger tip is that you providing positive energy. Meaning that you need to go back to your high school sweetheart if you want me to just peer into you and know how you get down, because I do not know how you get down. I don't know the recesses of your energy. I don't know your substance. And just because you're not showing me your substance is not meaning that it's not there. However, you could make it a point to provide positive energy without a reason to give positive energy. It's just because you're a positive person. That might open me up on the stranger level. However, on the stranger level, on the dating level, women is giving men their ass to kiss. And men, y'all don't have no game.
No game.
Y'all don't
No
even
game.
know how to be magnetic and attractive by doing the chakra work, by doing the shadow work. Kyrie does chakra work. Kyrie does shadow work. And Kyrie could very well release his dick discipline that he's been practicing for these past 5 years and go crazy. I could go on a fucking binge out here in these streets, but I choose not to because my attraction and magnetism does not stop with vagine. It moves into the realms of generational wealth. That's where my magnetism and my dick discipline has gotten me thus far. And for the men out here that's struggling, I can give you a couple of girls.
Easy.
If you're serious about this work, don't worry about the females, fam. I got enough of them to go around. That might sound like some crazy shit to say, but Rob, am I lying?
No, you're not lying. No, you're not lying.
I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm saying that women are the least of your worries. Your problem is your attraction energy and your magnetism energy.
Yeah,
you niggas don't brush your hair, brush your teeth, nothing, Go ahead.
Yeah, how you incorporate that shit that you're dealing with, right? That's that as a man, like your thing is form, and you're supposed to bring that thing into manifestation. You're supposed to bring that thing into form. Like as the man, that is the masculine's job. So, but if you're focused in on the stuff that you don't have, and always trying to get the girl, like that's always been the guy's thing, like always trying to just get the girl, and then you don't even realize what kind of girl you actually want.
Whoa. Or mad when you get the girl and you got a girl and not a goddess. What about that part? You ever got a girl when you really wanted a goddess, but you didn't never know the difference between a girl and a goddess because you was always thinking with your lower self? And I tell you, I live a life of not living by my lower self, and it's not because of me, fellas. Leave it up to me, I would have been up in Tatalicia's ass crack, what time is it? I can't seem to see the light of day. Get your head out of her ass, fam, and maybe you would see that it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You got shit to do, right? But I got a wife that keeps me accountable, and over time, what I've learned is that by keeping my distance from Tatalicia's bitch ass, right, I've become a better person. And so it's not even the point of, I wanted to be with Tatalicious, so I didn't recognize my growth. Up until the point that I no longer had the desire to even be in those realms of life, that I started to realize the beauty of, dare I say, monogamy. I'm a whole fucking monogamous out here. That polygamy shit can kiss my ass. I don't believe in it, because I don't believe that I can meet a person that's willing to give me and my wife positive, perpetual, perfect, beautiful energy for no fucking reason. I think she wants us to see how me and my wife want to be a voyeur or something. Want to see how me and my wife fucked or some shit like that, and judge me and my wife or some shit. I don't even believe in that. That's weird.
That's a shortcut. That's a shortcut to just wanting to fuck a lot of people.
And judgment, right? And then be like, well, I couldn't deal with them people. I'm gonna go find me another couple. Well, you couldn't deal with the dudes.
the reality of people being able to coexist in a multi-layered relationship, when people can't even coexist in a one-on-one relationship
with themselves. Fuck one-on-one with themselves.
It's a joke. Like, you don't even know what self is.
Facts.
But you want to have a relationship with 5 or 6 different people. Like,
first of all, you nasty. Second of all, it's like a fantasy, dog. Like, dudes is in a fantasy, women is in a fantasy, and we'll always look, and I'm speaking for myself right now, we will always look for something greater than what we have. So back to a point that you said, when it comes to your finances.
Of man. They call that the audacity of man, to think that there's something better out here, even though you were created. Go ahead.
It's a fucked up disposition, dog. It's really fucked up. They say women are hypergamous, but I know niggas been hypergamous my whole life.
That's the beginning.
What I've seen, dog. I've seen dudes say, "Oh, that girl giving me some attention." Bro, don't you got a wife and kids at home? Shit.
Word.
I'm gonna go get this pussy real quick.
Word.
And seeing that as a child,
and ask you to do the Kevin Hart and cover for him.
Hey, cover for me real quick, big bro. Tell them I'm with my uncle and da 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 da. Okay, I got you, big aunt. You know what I mean? And so that's just how it goes down, But getting to the crux of this thing, appreciating your relationship is the work, right? Because a motherfucker will post pictures on IG and act like it's right and exact with their relationship. But no, the work that I work for within my relationship is teaching each other to appreciate and to value one another. And that is hard work because we are two individuals who have triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get emotionally triggered, we will go into our whatever. But in the moments when we are in our
both
shit,
had lives. You both had lives that existed before y'all got together.
exactly. So we have to work on how we begin to have the conversation on how we value and appreciate each other, because this is what we need in this world where it's an attack that's going place. And the attack is in these people acting like you got to have all of this type of shit in reference to the shit that they don't have. That's a mind game, bruh. That's a mind game.
All mine.
Because if she can't match you on that, then she shouldn't be testing you on that. And vice versa.
Facts.
Because
y'all have these standards
bro,
that y'all don't live up to. Y'all have standards that y'all don't live up to. It's beautiful to have standards for somebody to say, oh yeah, well that person has really good standards. And yeah. However, when the actions do not match, now you have to go back and re-explain why you have these standards, but you don't match those standards, right?
Mm-hmm. They want us to be isolated. They want us to hate our women. They want us to break up our families. They want us to run away. They want us to think that the woman who is sexy is going to be the one that's going to be our salvation, as opposed to not actually learning how to value the divine feminine energy within our women, or understanding the goddess energy within our women, or actually seeing the soul within the woman. The thing about me is that I can see the soul in the woman. I can get right to the bullshit, right? And this is why nobody is going to call Kyrie and say, how you doing, Kyrie? Because I'm sussing right to the bullshit. I'm right in the soul shit.
They too afraid. I told you what my conversations be like when they talk about you to me. They just, I told you. And that's the thing. When you meet an individual who isn't about that bullshit, you know that you can't give them your bullshit. So,
but I'm not special. I'm not special.
It doesn't make you special.
I'm
it just means that
attempting to give that to y'all, so we can really be on this. I'm just saying.
Stand on your octagon.
I feel like if I can do this for myself, then I can hear the problems and issues from the same problems and issues that I used to have when I was not connected to source.
Yeah,
I had financial problems. I had woman problems. Wasn't nobody treating me right. I was walking everywhere. People was giving me their ass to kiss. Nobody wanted to be my friend. And I did nothing in relation to get people to fall back in love with me more than I fell back in love with self, and then everything took care of itself. Now I tell that to a person and it's like, well, that's too good to be. It is too good to be true, because you got to be persistent in the love for self.
Because people think that words equate to action, and so therefore if I just say it, then that's okay.
Right.
And that's why this whole love thing, when it comes into relationships, is the way that it is. How many times have you said I love you and didn't mean it? How many times have you said I love you as a chore, right?
As a response.
As a response, right? People say it because you're saying it to them. They're not saying it because they feel it. They're saying it because you're saying it to them. So that's the thing. People have lost the understanding of being authentic, right? Everything is in images. Everything is Instagram. Everything is what's fly and what's not. So you think your authenticity lies in how good you look. So therefore, you don't have to be authentic unless you look good. Wow.
And I don't think people can even talk to a person without an ulterior motive and be able to invest in that ulterior motive, because in relation to being in a relationship, there should be no ulterior motive as opposed to the intention of wanting to shower that person with an abundance of love. But if you don't shower yourself with an abundance of love, there is no way, absolutely, that you can shower a person with an abundance of love. And since you cannot shower that person with an abundance of love, you cannot say to yourself, there is work that I need to do on myself, right? So then there must be a problem with the man. There must be a problem with the woman. There must be a problem with my mama. There must be a problem with my daddy. And the reality is that you need to escape from the matrix and tune in and tap into your divinity. And these are the things that are going to pull us all out of the matrix for real and get outside of the spell.
A small part of my theme has been the idea of competition, and competition is something that leads to the idea of blame. We are people that we like to live on the idea of we need somebody to blame. And the only reason you need someone to blame is because you need the alleviation of the responsibility for your actions. Because that's the only reason blame exists. Blame doesn't exist for anything that is productive. It doesn't exist for anything that is beneficial. It doesn't exist for any of that. So the more time it takes for you to come up with and determine who is to blame, it takes away from the idea and the reality that I'm responsible for my action because this person did something wrong, so I get to blame it on them.
Right. Let's blame John
I
D.
put a spell on you.
Let's blame John McAdee.
Let's do the little intro real quick.
I put a spell on you.
You're privileged, Mr. Corso. Very few people ever set foot in here. This is my private collection. Some bibliophiles specialize in Gothic novels, others in books of hours. All my own rare editions have the same protagonist, the devil.
May I take a look?
Yes, that's why I brought you here.
Venice, 1666. The author and printer Aristide Torchi was burned by the Holy Inquisition, together with all his works. Only 3 copies survived.
1.
Catalog lists 3 copies surviving in private ownership. Fargus, the Kessler, and the Telfer.
It's true. You know your business, but you're mistaken nonetheless. According to my own research, only 1 is authentic.
Well, 3 are known.
That's the trouble.
I put a spell on you.
Man, we about to decode some shit, no pun intended.
Decode.
That was so corny, but funny at
That
the
was
same.
so dope though to me. It was dope to me.
Oh man. So man, damn. Let's do this like we supposed to. Let's put some respect on bruh's name. Man, let's give a libations to that man John McAdee.
Yeah, John McAdoo, John McAfee, whatever.
Did I say
Yes,
McAdee?
John.
I said
Yes, you
McAdee.
did. John. We're gonna say John.
I said that
We're
too
gonna say John.
easy. I said that too easily,
We
man.
gotta send it up to John. We gotta send it up to John.
He transitioned June 23rd, 2021. And yeah, man, he was married to a melanated sister by the name of Janice.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally think that he is a time traveling shapeshifter, Saint Germain, Satoshi, Bitcoin creator type of energy. But I digress.
Francis Bacon. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what they like to say about old boy that they said killed himself, but we say they really didn't. Earlier this year, what's his name? Epstein, right, of that ilk. And man, I think it's really biblical, but I want to kind of walk people and lead people up to a conversation of understanding the connection between John McAfee and John D. And then, of course, Johnny Depp, right? So John D, right? Johnny D, right? John D. 2 separate people. You got Johnny D, or Johnny going deep with it, right? Johnny Depp.
It's too close.
Johnny Depp, and then you got John D, and because John D didn't get no P, right? He wasn't no P. He was just getting some D, right? Hopefully you
Mhm.
wasn't getting too much D, but you never know with a name like John D.
Hopefully.
But then John Macca paid the fee, and now he
Oh, he paid.
he paid the fee. So man, let's slow walk this thing, bro, because
Mhm.
let's
They
make
think
it
we
make
crazy
sense.
right now.
Let's make
They
we
think we
sound
crazy.
crazy as hell, and
Mhm.
let us unpack this because we got to for the people, because it's like, man, if we came on here,
right.
bro, hold on.
Tell them-
If we came on
okay.
here and was just like, we gonna do everything that everybody else talking about, big bro. We gonna talk about goddamn Tabitha. We gonna talk about Wendy Williams. We gonna talk about Sha'Carri Richardson. We gonna talk about everything. Then that wouldn't be spirit led, now would it?
Who the hell? The only name I remember in any of that was Wendy Williams. I'm like,
See,
who the
Sha'Carri
hell?
Richardson. You know Sha'Carri Richardson. Anyway,
No, I do not.
the
But go
track
ahead.
star. She's a runner. She's a track star. She gonna run.
I remember the last time I looked at track.
Okay,
Bro, but go
all
ahead.
right. Look at you, high and mighty looking boy.
High and mighty. What? Because I don't watch track.
All right. But I'm just saying, we about to get into some spirit led shit, bro. And we gotta be not be careful, but probably be careful because we'll lose people.
Precise.
We'll lose
Precise.
people, and we
need to
sound
be
crazy
precise.
already. So
Yeah, we need to be
let's go
precise.
back to John D and let's end up at John McAfee. And let's connect John John Depp as a globe and get into this demonology. But let's get into it, man. Start it off, bro. You started off because you was getting the channel from John D. So just
So John D is, like he said, of the ilk of the Saint Germain, aka Francis Bacon type ilk. And John D was the man who is credited with being responsible for the European Renaissance, in which we know that was. So John D is not only responsible for the European Renaissance, but he's also responsible for the New World, right? They call him the guy that was the director of the New World, and
he was the first
he was a
person to
mythical
coin
guy.
the term the British Empire.
He wrote a book called The New Atlantis, in which he was describing America, in which it was a land that was full of nothing but utopia, and there was no strife, there was no wars, there was no judgment, blah 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 blah.
And you got to
So-
remember, at this time, Britain was pure hell. They was coming off the bubonic
Pure
plague,
hell, pure hell.
the Black Death.
So he is also a magician, a sorcerer, right? And a lot of his rituals have come down through Francis Bacon, aka William Shakespeare, aka
son.
Massimo Bassano, whatever. But what I'm trying to say is that John D is the guy that is credited for this new world, or so-called new world order, that we exist in right now. And John McAfee is the guy who is connected to this new resurgence in currency, because he is the crypto god, aka a lot of people believe he is Satoshi, the creator of Bitcoin. You can go either way you want to on that if you understand about it, but what we're trying to connect is, what I'm trying to point to is that one person is responsible for the resurgence of the currency, one person is responsible for the resurgence of socialism and ideologies, and they both are connected because of aka the Knife Gate and Johnny Depp. Please go, big bro.
All right, John D is the A to the Queen, right? He is the A to Elizabeth. Elizabeth is known as the Virgin Queen. I'm gonna just say a bunch of facts that don't have nothing to do with each other, but they have everything to do.
Everything to do with this.
Elizabeth the First is known as the Virgin Queen. Jesus is born from a mother who is a virgin, Virgin Mary. Correct? So what is being said is that this woman can bring forth a child through specific spiritual means. Now, what is the difference? But how can a woman be a queen and not just be replaced by another man, and then be elevated to a space where no other man was elevated to? Well, ultimately, she was a virgin, but it also goes into, you can Google it, that she had a son. Now, John Dee is a person who did magical working after magical working. You can get Jason Lou's book, John Dee and the Empire of Angels.
Mm-hmm. Very good book.
Very great, excellent book. That shit woke me up a long time ago. John Dee and the Empire of Angels. And it gets into all of his magical workings with Mr. Kelly, R. Kelly. I apologize.
Not that R.
I
Kelly.
apologize.
Not that
I apologize. Some other Kelly, R. Kelly, Robert Kelly, or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I digress. So before John Dee, there was no term such as called the British Empire. Mm-hmm. So before before all of this stuff ever happened, bro, France was in America. France had found Louisiana in the 1700s. France found Detroit in the 1700s. France named St. Louis after their King Louis, right, in the 1700s. France had relationship with the Mound Builder Indians, i.e. black people, since the 1700s. You can look at
all the way up to Schuylkill Valley.
Alexandre Dumas, black general.
From Lovecraft Country, I might add. But go ahead. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, right? Trying to give y'all the clues. The Count of Monte Cristo, okay? It's talking about a relationship, but that was the book that was reading in Lovecraft Country. Trying to let you know that there is a hidden history in relation to your bloodline that is specifically being subverted through spell work.
Spell work.
Listen, man. This energy in relation to Jesus being Christ is real. Jesus is a real person that lived not too long ago. Okay? He was born from a virgin mother. So after Queen Elizabeth, the next king was King James. The Bible is named the King James Version of the Bible. So do you think that the Bible would be more centered around King James mythology, or some mythology that happened 2,000 years ago that King James was never alive to see? So if I can edit a book, would I edit it to make it more realistic to 2,000 years prior? Or would I make it more realistic to the days and times for which I'm living in? So when you talk about Jesus's power, you just don't know who Jesus is. Now, we live in America, and y'all want to deny the power of Jesus? You just don't know who Jesus is. Okay? So, let's backtrack. Elizabeth, Virgin Queen. A lot of y'all live in Virginia. Who is Virginia named after? Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen. Who is West Virginia named after? Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen. Now, is this Virgin Mary of 2,000 years ago? Or is this Virgin Elizabeth a few hundred years ago?
Virgin Elizabeth.
Few hundred years ago. So, quite naturally, now let's get our Googles together. Parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis.
Let's talk about this.
Oh, that should be pretty easy because I was already there. Thank you.
Let's talk about this.
Parthenogenesis. The reproduction from an ovum without fertilization, especially as a normal process in some invertebrates and lower plants.
Normal process.
Normal process. So she created a child on her own, aka Sophia, aka
without a man. Without a man. Created the smartest man in the fucking world, fam.
Is that not the same thing as asexual means propagation?
Yes,
okay.
It's the same thing as I don't need no nigga to raise this baby.
I don't need no nigga. I don't need no nigga
to raise this baby. It meant that shit. And raise the nigga and raise however many kids she had with no man. It didn't look twice. Goddamn Kevin Durant saying, "Mama, you the MVP." Now you mean to tell me, under Kevin Samuel's logic, the only basketball players should be men who are raised under mother and father, and the dad is shooting hoops with the son every day because he got that strong masculine energy.
Pretty much.
Kevin Durant is washing all of them niggas who grew up in strong households. Kevin Samuels, make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense, Kevin.
Please do.
He ain't have no dad in the house. And Kevin Durant
LeBron James didn't grow up with no dad in the house.
Gloria was out here fucking Delonte West.
Yes, she was doing her thing in these streets.
Out here thotting it up. And LeBron James is the GOAT. So now you mean to tell I'm not saying nothing. I'm just laying out observations. So let's digress for a second, because you talking about King James, Serpent.
My bad.
You just said King James. So
I didn't even mean to, but Spirit must have put me there because I wasn't even connecting it.
We spirit led. We spirit led today. We spirit led today. And niggas is just going to have to take this shit, bro.
Just take this work.
They just going to have to take it. Cause
in my Loaded Lux voice, you're gonna get this work today.
Cause all of these videos, bro, they covering the news, but they not talking about John McAfee.
Nope. Isn't that the same dude that mentioned one file, one USB with like 31 terabytes, and the next thing you know, a building came down? But I digress.
And nobody knew how it came down.
It's like all of a sudden, when did we start tearing down buildings again? Like, just woke up and people looking for people that died in the building.
And nobody bats an eye because it's not sensational. It's not sensational. It's not sensational. But
who cares about 31 terabytes of information on, exposing public officials? Who cares about that?
But see, the reality is that we don't need them terabytes no more. Because if you was to actually kill somebody, then you realize that you can't actually kill somebody, and you can tap in and tune in to the energy of John McAfee. And I guarantee you, if you having money issues, I feel bad for you, son.
Word up, son.
John McAfee was out here putting you on.
Word up.
But you're not.
For his whole life.
But his whole entire life was about putting people on. Like, imagine this dude. He create an antivirus system, and that's a key on words, because we're not going to talk about the virus today. But John McAfee came up with the antivirus situation. So this whole operation was a smoke out onto getting rid of a virus.
Yep.
But you got to understand, Bill Gates came out with Windows. And he gave y'all the computer, knowing this is analogy, and you got to have eyes to see this and ears to hear.
Yeah, a little abstract.
Bill Gates gave us the computer, knowing damn well that viruses was going to be easy. You would go on a website without a McAfee, and your shit would be done for. Back in the days, 98, 2000, you on the internet, and you don't got McAfee antivirus software, your shit is over with. So
over with. You'll have that computer for 2-3 days.
2-3 days, and you got a virus on your shit, and you cannot use it. You got to get your shit to a computer repair shop ASAP, and don't let it be a Trojan. You might have to get a whole new system.
Yeah, you're gonna need a whole new system after a Trojan.
But then John McAfee said, "You know what? I understand this," and created the antivirus system. So ultimately, let's jump down the rabbit hole real. Johnny Depp has signed up to play quirky McAfee, antivirus creator John McAfee.
I swear, I just want to say
Go
before you
ahead.
go any further, I need the people to know I had no idea about this. I was not privy to this information. This nigga pulled this shit out of his back pocket. I am just as in awe as you are. Go ahead, big bro.
Hey, it just came to me too. I just said because I was already tuned in and tapped into this frequency, but it was like a bookend, and it was like to be continued. And then once this all happened, it was just like, and it was like,
It made it make sense. It was like your Rolodex went off, right? It made it make sense.
I found you.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
because we've been talking about ever since me and Racine had linked up, like me and Racine got cool because of Saint Germain on the
That
Slack.
nigga used to call me Slake Jermaine. Like he called me Slake Jermaine before
Like,
I even knew anything.
Because you know everybody is everything, but then a person posts a Saint Germain video, you my friend for life. That's just the reality. It's nothing else that we can say. You just my homeboy. So he'll tell you. Ever since he posted that video, I've been his homeboy. So it's just more or less of you know how to get to my heart with Saint Germain videos. But I digress. Saint Germain is a shapeshifter energy, vampire energy that does not die and lives forever. Okay, it has many different personas and many different energies, and I truly believe that Saint Germain is alive today. And the reason that everything is happening the way it's happening is because people are trying to suppress us and move us from the Saint Germain energy. But the thing about it is that it's a non-physical energy, and it can specifically possess or has possessed and lives multiple people's lives. Now, this sounds crazy, and I know, but you just either gonna have to take it or leave it. So this energy.
I just wanted to say the imagination world is the real world, so use your imagination.
Use your imagination. This one powerful energy can control a multiple of many different people, but they all have a particular energy and entity, and they exist at different times, but they exist all in this moment now. As soon as you understand the codes, and most of it is like Ready Player One, where you got to get into the digital world and find the keys to master and level up. But
the little nuggets.
Because ultimately you living in this world and you not fully understanding what's happening, and maybe you understand what's happening in your world, but what's happening with the people that you love is kind of confusing. So let's just talk about this movie King of the Jungle, about John McAfee, right, played by Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp in this movie is,
I think that's a coincidence. That's just crazy.
That's a crazy coincidence, right? And so Johnny Depp is like the go-to guy for, what's the word I'm looking for? Masonic? Secret society?
Yeah. Occult understanding.
Occult understanding movies that allow you to tap in. And so Johnny Depp is playing John McAfee. Now, once I seen this, I said Johnny Depp in The Ninth Gate is about John McAfee. Now, the thing about John McAfee is that he is an antivirus technical dude, but he got books on yoga. He got books on psychedelics. He got books on raising Kundalini. Okay, he got spiritual information and spiritual books. So ultimately, it's not just about the tech with it, bro. He more of a spiritual energy, and because of this spiritual energy, he has got super wealthy. And he tuned in and tapped into the
I'm still on the live, yes.
He tuned in and tapped into the energy of, what is that? Cryptocurrency, right? John McAfee is literally the father of crypto. Okay, they said that he had, not only did he have 32 terabytes of hidden information, he had hidden crypto that's unaccounted for. It's 5 million some odd cryptocurrency coins that can't nobody find, and that's out of 21 million. And so the understanding is John McAfee, this is all speculation, John McAfee is the founder of Bitcoin, and that's why he had 5 million in the tuck. But there's also videos of John McAfee saying that he got body doubles and all types of shit, and they'll never find him. And he was talking to the dudes like, you don't know that you're talking to John McAfee right now. You just think that you're talking to John McAfee, and that's what I want you to think. And so let's just continue the interview, because the dude was asking about body doubles and things of that nature. So as we are fully understanding the power of John McAfee, I would say watch his videos, take notes, and apply the information because it might be useful to you in trying to understand cryptocurrency and when it's going. And since he has transitioned on June 23rd, the market is back on a high rise. So it's a lot of things that's been happening in the world ever since he has transitioned. But ultimately, if you're not paying attention to it, you might just completely go in one ear and not the other. So that's Johnny Depp in The King of the Jungle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now let's look at Johnny Depp in The Ninth Gate. So Johnny Depp is Dean Corso, a rare book dealer, is appointed by a renowned book collector, Balkan, to verify the authenticity of one of his books. According to sources, only 3 copies of that book exist, and it's in 3 different places. After losing his friend who has been killed for that book, he leaves on the mission. He wants to verify Balkan's book, but finds something else. During his dramatic travels through Paris and Madrid, too many things beyond his expectations are revealed. So that movie is The Ninth Gate, and that movie is featuring Johnny Depp, where, well, Johnny Depp is working for the establishment and he's trying to do his best job for the establishment, but then as he's studying, so he has this book, and this book is a book of tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
And each tarot card, each book is the same, but the only difference is how it is signed. And on some of these tarot cards, they're signed by the devil himself. So if you don't understand holistic thought, you might view the devil as a bad guy. But if you had took the shadow work course, you would understand that Jesus and the devil is just one side of the next side. And when you put them together, you are whole. And where in the movie, they're looking for Satan this whole entire time. But once he figured out me and Johnny Depp, he's like, shit, I want the book for myself. I ain't about to give you nothing. You know what I'm saying? So he takes the information, takes the girl, and like levels up. So, and how that relates to John McAfee, I think people was trying to sun John McAfee, but John McAfee could not be sunned because he is a spiritual being having a human experience.
And he knew that.
And he knew that.
And he knew that. He knew
and he
that.
utilized it, and he lived it in his full prosperous way. And he had a melanated woman by his side, which might have had something to do with it, but I don't know. What you think?
No, there's not a part in me that could rebuttal anything that you said. I think everything fits perfectly, and I just think that when you point to the ridiculousness of things that end up being coincidences, it's probably a better idea to believe in the ridiculous part than to believe in the coincidence, right? Because it's easy to just say, all right, those things just are the same, so let you just accept it. But when you believe in, when you understand how to incorporate your imagination, then you'll understand that this was all a ritual and this was all done on purpose. And that man clearly had more information than he was telling people. It's just that the people were just tied to the narrative. So for there to be a connection between Ninth Gate, Johnny Depp, and John McAfee, the dude that just made transition, I think that's phenomenal, bro. And I just want to commend you on that work. That's dope, bro. Like, that's phenomenal, bro.
But peep it though, John D is an Anglo-Saxon spellmaster, right? And took Europe out of the Black Plague into one of the most powerful dynasties that the world has ever seen. And they have done that purely off of the manipulation of sound, right? To get the gods to twerk on the club, to Gap Band records and things of that nature, to do line dances, to do house music, and to dance and jig on a Saturday night when we should be in tuning to our let me digress, because maybe that's what we came down here to do, is to have a good time. But in reference to the people who are down here that have no enjoyment for the fuckery and trying to figure out how do I level up, Well, you need to do what they're doing. They're doing spell work and tuning into the elementals and doing rituals on particular new moons and dealing with the cyclical nature of sidereal astrology. These are all things that John Dee brought forth, to which now you look at astrology and spiritualism and occultism is popular, right? It's one of the biggest things that's happening in the world. But another thing, it's the new fad, but it's watered down.
It's watered down.
It's not going to give you nothing, and it's not going to be your salvation.
I think a key component to point out for the family is that the reality is that all of these people that we speak about, especially when we speak about things from a European, Anglo-Saxon, whatever colonial type atmosphere, all of these people were master astrologers.
Masters.
All of these people were master sorcerers. They were their own magicians. Like, they did this work.
They was getting women pregnant. Listen, they got Elizabeth pregnant so she could create Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon then took the energy, because this is how real it gets. What's the first state of the Union? Virginia.
Yeah.
Virginia.
Virgin Mary.
Okay, so he's do you think he named it because she was the queen, or did he name it because that was his mom?
He named it because that was his mom.
Would you name it after your mom, bro?
Absolutely. If you found the
new country. Now, Francis Bacon was hold on, because I don't want to miss. I'm gonna say this. You can talk to people. I gotta look at something real quick.
No, I think it's perfect, because the way it comes across is that people think it's just some fantastic shit that just sounds good. But the thing about it is that these people have been putting these implementations in place for a very long time. And these rituals have been around for a very long time. So we talk about the spell work. John Dee is also the person that's responsible for putting this collection of individuals under the current 400-year spell. And if you're privy to the teachings say that it's been a cycle of consecutive 400-year spells. Before this 400-year spell, melanated people had the Europeans under a spell for 400 years, and it just keeps going back and forth and back and forth. Well, John Dee, being the father of the new civilization and the AKA New Atlantis, the new world, John Dee was the one that was responsible for this 400-year curse.
100%.
He is the one who implemented that to Europe, and that's why they call him the father of the Renaissance.
This is from D.W. Cooper and Lawrence Gerald. There has been more written about Francis Bacon's life from the age of 16. So Francis Bacon's life from the age of 16, when he left England and traveled to the continent during the 1570s, meeting up with the leading thinkers of the Cultural Revolution in France, and his other formative years and the elders who had shaped his mind. Alfred Dodd, in his book Francis Bacon's Personal Life Story, quotes Bacon's biographer and chaplain, Dr. Raleigh, "I shall not tread too near upon the heels of truth," letting us know that his biography of Bacon would not be too exact in its details. Why would they not give you the full details? Because Bacon is the son of Queen Elizabeth through divine birth, through virgin birth. Francis Bacon is who people pray to when they pray to Jesus, because he has been spiritualized, and he probably not transitioned like people think. But I'll continue. Dodd's book speculates that Queen Elizabeth secretly supervised the education of young Francis. There are only brief accounts of his early days at the York House with his adoptive parents, Sir Nicholas and Lady Anne Bacon. So he got adopted. Who is his mom? I just want you to I'm just putting things out for you. Now let's deal with this. The Virginia Company. So for those who don't know, John Dee was Francis Bacon's mentor and tutor. Because John Dee was Elizabeth's aide. and help for a percentage of his
She
life.
he was her spiritual confidant.
Yes, exactly. So this is about the Virginia Company of London. Was a joint stock company chartered by King James I. The same dude had wrote the Bible, also chartered the first joint stock company. And what was the energy that he was giving to the people who lived here already? The Bible. So King James, right? This is your indoctrination. This is your TVA, the Bible. This saying that God created you and things of that nature. But I digress. Such a venture allowed the crown to reap the benefits of colonization, natural resources, new markets, leverage against the Spanish, blah, blah, blah. The company established a settlement at Jamestown, Virginia in 1607 over the next 18 years. And I just want to find the first charter in 1606 and just get to a point where Francis Bacon was a part of the first charter.
Yeah, that was his mentor. John Dee was Francis Bacon's mentor.
Okay. And by 1609, the council had swelled to 50 members, including elites such as the philosopher and essayist Sir Francis Bacon. So Sir Francis Bacon was a part of the charter, the second charter, to establish a colony in America, right? And this Virginia Company of London actually is the root of what we call America to this, like, so without the Virginia Company of London, we don't have what we're celebrating today or tomorrow for Independence Day.
You don't get to the 13 colonies.
No.
And you don't get to the 50 states.
No, you don't get, so meaning that you don't get the 50 states of America without Sir Francis Bacon. But what is the religion of America? Is easy. It's Christianity. Who is Jesus? Is Jesus somebody who existed 2000? Now, I'll just use your brain. Does it make sense that we would worship somebody who existed in another country 2,000 years ago as our patron saint or the lead religion of the whole new country? Or would it be somebody that actually existed in the world through spiritual means? And what is the spiritual means for which a person would to be born? By John Dee in his spiritual workings. Right? So you get these spiritual workings, you have this child, and then this child gets adopted, and we don't know the real story. But then at the same time, we got Illuminati this, Masonic this, ritual this, secret society this, Rosicrucian this, Epstein that, John McAfee this, right? What are they hiding? What is the secret? That men do not need women and women do not need men. What you actually need is to unite your masculine and feminine energy within yourself to become God, to then bring birth to life when you unite your physical and masculine energy. Super far-fetched, right? Super hard.
No, it isn't. I gotta bow to you on that because you put that together so beautifully. That was dope. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, it's to the normal person that's like far-fetched, because now you need a man to support you. You need a man to pay your bills, right? But that's red pill, women red pill, or blue pill. But purple pill is realizing that it would be nice to have a person around me, but I don't need anybody for shit. If everybody wants to turn their back on me and say, you know what, Hood Mystic, fuck you, I'm gonna be okay. Because ultimately I've united my masculine and feminine energy, and that's all I can do, because I can't make another person love me, nor can I make another person respect me. But in reference to how you're going to actually tap in and tune in, the purpose of this talk was to show people that this is how they get down. But they get down like this in secret because you can get down just like they get down, but 10 times better. But what's the difference? You just not doing it. You more paying attention.
You think it's too crazy. You think it's too weird, and you know.
I mean, shit. We
so there's a level that you can get to, and that level that you can get to can be obtained all from self.
From self,
And
yes.
and once you understand that you can get to that level, once you get to that level, then you understand that everything else just falls away, and then you realize, like, holy shit, like I didn't need none of this stuff. I didn't need any of this stuff that I told myself I needed. All right.
But you were under a spell.
You were under a spell. So exactly why, the reason why you can't fault somebody else for not knowing, you can't fault yourself for not knowing. So the same way you would be delicate to yourself, you need to be delicate to other individuals. Because most individuals don't know that they're under a spell.
This is the key.
You yelling at them and
being mad, arguing online,
like all that, like that stuff doesn't get anywhere because you're possessed having an argument. Like you're possessed having an argument.
100%.
You know,
100%.
so once we can get past those tree branches in those trees, once we can get past that, then the field is wide open.
Ashe, you got to break through the barrier. You got to do the shadow work.
It's what you want to do in the field. It's what you want to do in the field. You don't get to the field and be like, who's watching me? Right?
Who's going to pick me up in a chariot?
Yeah, like, no, you got to get to that field. And once you get to that field, everything else opens up for you. Like, that's what this conversation is about. This isn't about anything else. Like, we made it seem fly because we two people that like talking to each other. But at the end of the day, like, the possession part, the mesmerization, being mesmerized, the hypnotization, that is the thing to take you out of your element. That is the thing to disconnect you from source. And they've done a pretty good job of disconnecting people.
And now you broke as hell, and now nobody want to love you. And now you mad at your money. You mad at the money, and the money don't even have a consciousness. Or it does have a consciousness, is know to stay the fuck away from you because you're going to give your money to Roscoe every Friday because he know that you get paid on Friday, so he hit you up. And then, you know, you just overall in a space of not having the relationship that you want. Because you don't have a relationship with yourself. Let's bring it to the front of the room and bring it right in front of people. A positive relationship with yourself. The natural response is to give positive energy to others. But if you do not have that positive energy to give to yourself, then let's cancel the door for sorcery. Let's cancel the door for occultism. Let's cancel the door for psychic abilities. Let's cancel the door for all of this shit because you're going to spend all of your time and energy being mad at an imperfect world. And the world was set up specifically for it to be imperfect so you could be complaining, so you could be tapped out of your problem. So when you go to any city and town of America, you say, well, what is it like living in, you know, Flat Buck Hill, Virginia? And they say, I hate it here. Every small town in America you go to, you ask them, every city you go to, how do you feel about living in Texas? You know what? I hate it here. This is suck and this is bad and that is bad. You know why that happens, bro? Because it was set up for you to hate it. Now, until you get into your own self, you're going to always hate everything. And it's only a moment or a matter of time. So in actually dealing with this relationship to yourself, hopefully we can get you to a point where you can begin to get up out of these spells. You know, this transition on June 23rd was very symbolic of the energy that has been holding you on lockdown without you even realize you were on lockdown because you only care about Derek Jackson or what they're showing you on Spiritual World Instagram, right? What they're showing you on the Shade Room. This is a lot of people who don't know what the hell we talking about right now, Serpent, but 10 times out of 10, it's affected you in some way. You bought a computer with McAfee already on it.
I have no idea why that McAfee box just keep popping up.
Just show up at your crib.
You're like, damn, why does McAfee joint just keep bothering me?
Crazy.
Because you have no idea that you actually need it. He just tapped in. He knew that you already needed it, so he just made sure he put it
He
there.
knew that you already needed antivirus software because you was just going to hop on the LimeWire, right, and get viruses on your shit.
ASAP. You was just gonna go right the Pirate Bay.
Napster.
Just download whatever. I could get it free. Oh yeah, I'm jumping on that. Yeah.
And now your shit got viruses. So let's we did a whole setup for what we about to talk about in the future, man. Let's give a segue to what's about to happen in the future and, you know, give people time to, you know, go over what we talked about as we go over what we talked about and get these clips. but I digress. Let's deal with where we've been and where we're gonna go from here. How about it, bro?
All right. Well, the Serpent has been working.
No. I'm gonna do a video.
Okay.
I put a spell on you.
Sound is the substance of creation. Meanings are made up in human minds. Or in other words, everything is sound.
I put a spell on you.
Serpent, you there?
Yeah, I'm there, big bro.
All right, cool. So, bam, we're going to talk about Beyonce, we're going to talk about Cardi B, and we're going to talk about Meg Thee Stallion, but not in the way that you think. We're going to talk about them as being sirens. We're going to talk about them utilizing mantras and how you can do the same things as them. So, Serpent, you going to start this off, or what we going to do with it?
I need to flow off of you because you go in too many different directions. Go ahead, play, bro.
No. I'm saying that we're going to talk about the Tantra of Sound and where we're going, but ultimately to deal with the Tantra of Sound, since it's such a large topic, that I want to be direct with the people, because it's like when you talk about the Tantra of Sound, it's like we're not even talking about Beyonce.
Not even close.
But we are though. We not talking about Cardi B. We not talking about Meg Thee Stallion. They're
the props. They're the props.
But they a good way of us understanding how this thing works. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. All three of them are singers, right?
In some form or I guess. I mean,
I guess.
You call it that.
My God.
But hold on. So let's deal with this. A mantra is a sacred utterance. So ain't nobody freak like me. Ain't gotta mean what you need. Or what's another one? I don't know these girls' songs, man. What's Cardi B song?
I couldn't even tell you twice. Only thing I know about is WAP.
Okay, that's a mantra. It's a sacred utterance, a numinous sound. What do numinous?
Pay my telephone, pay my bills, pay my bills.
What do numinous mean?
Or upgrade you,
baby. How can you upgrade number one? What's higher than number one? That was a bar, but
that was a bar. That was
Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
Having a strong religious or spiritual quality. So strong religious or spiritual quality. So numinous sound, when a woman is singing or a woman is yelling, like when you have sex, like a woman say be like, oh God, I'm coming. But if she get into her moan bag and she real good at moaning, it sound like she's singing, right? But these are also transferable into the music, because the thing about WAP, you got to listen to WAP while you having sex. It will change the whole vibe. Put WAP on repeat and have sex to it. You will love that song. That song is specific for having sex to. I'm telling you, because I done it. And you know how you be getting it on and you be having the music playing and you be on the shuffle or whatever. And WAP just came on. I said, the second, like, this is kind of rocking. You know what I'm saying?
This is different.
It go with the song go with the fucking. But I digress. A syllable, a word, or phonemes or phonetics, or a group of words in Sanskrit, Pali, and other languages, believed by practitioners to have religious, magical, or spiritual beliefs. So, me and Serpent, we are about to go on a tour of the Tantra of Sound through minstrelsy, through jazz, through hip hop, through R&B, through funk, through blues, through blackface, through whiteface, through
Mhm.
all of these
Burlesque.
Uh-oh. I be on thought shit. I digress. Where was we at? You just threw me off with the burlesque. Hold on, let me Google what burlesque means. What we been doing, Serpent, man? The people can tell we've been working hard. They can tell. But what? Yeah. But we have only scratched the surface.
Nah, we've only peeled back one layer.
This is just the beginning of where we're about to take it. So if you like this, it's a very big onion. It's a very big onion. You got more to come. It's more to come. Burlesque, an absurd or comically exaggerated limitation of something, especially in a literary or dramatic work, a parody, a variety show, typically including striptease. Okay, making sense. So, I think people get it fucked up. The reason why I'm saying all of this to say is that people think mantras are something that you would only hear in like Sanskrit, like Mula Bandhu Namaha. That's not a mantra to me. The mantras to me is that hood shit that niggas be saying over and over again.
Shit that you affirm.
And so when you tap into why you need a man for a certain way, it's not necessarily because you necessarily need a man like that. It's because you getting programmed by these women. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that it's the idea of
or these institutions that empower these women.
You're reaffirming the thing, right? So when you speak that thing into existence, we're talking about the tantra of sound. And the beginning was the word. So you speaking that thing into existence, you're reaffirming that thing. You keep saying, oh, I value men, safety, protection, pay my bills, blah, 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 blah. You're reaffirming that thing. You're continuously affirming that thing by constantly speaking on that thing. That ultimately becomes your manifestation.
And did you want these things before they talked about it online?
That's the question. That's the question. Did somebody convince you into wanting this? Or is this something that you actually wanted on your own? Or did you just watch a good video, a good commercial, a good whatever, and did somebody talk you into wanting this?
And I would say, let's just keep it a buck. The things that you want are based upon spell work. Until you do the shadow work, until you do the chakra work, the things that you want are going to be what other people want for you and not what you want for yourself. This is why when you get your paycheck, this is why when you look at your dude or look at your life and you're unhappy, because you never wanted it in the first place. Because if you wanted it, all of that work you put in to get it, you should have been happy when you got it.
Yep. But if you're sad, but if your frequency is on the accumulation, then once you get that thing, it's on to the next thing. And once you get that thing, it's on to the next thing. And if you can see this reoccurring theme, you'll understand that there's no such thing as you ever being fulfilled and satisfied, because you placed your identity within the things that you accumulate.
How are you going to be satisfied? And the moon has a new moon phase every 14 days, and the moon ain't never satisfied.
I don't know. You put that together. You
make that make sense.
Please do. All you spiritual beings, please do.
Because I'm really
you got new cycles and new understandings every cycle.
Every cycle you have a new understanding.
So if you're just in one thing and just that one thing perpetually, I don't know. You got to answer that question. Or rather, the individual has to answer that question to themselves. Are you even asking yourself the question? Is that something you wanted, or is that something you were talked into wanting? Do people even know the difference? See, this is spell work.
And I'll go so far to say, if you don't have a list of your personal mantras that you're trying to manifest and bring into realization, an updated list every week, then 10 times out of 10, you are following somebody else's mantras. I need a man. I need to work. I need to have this. I need to do that. Right?
And that's why people send you little texts and little inboxes and little DMs and be like, "Yeah, I'm worried about getting it wrong." Well, you could only get it wrong if you say you got it wrong. And if you're basing yourself off of doing some work for yourself on getting it wrong, then you're basing it off what somebody else told you about yourself.
Right, because they're the determiner of whether you did it right or wrong. But when we get into dealing with your ancestors, that's like dead middle in the middle of some pussy, right? You come into the realization like, maybe I'm getting this wrong. So you call in your homeboy. Like, yo, good. I mean, nobody ever called a 1,000 people called me for advice, but never have I got advice in the middle of a stroke. Hey, am I stroking this thing right?
Word. I've never heard a nigga text me and be like, "Yo, son, I don't think I hit the bottom."
I'm not the bottom.
Not the bottom. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
we got a lot. We got a
I'm
lot
sorry.
for people,
That's too much
man. We got a
information.
lot
I'm
for
sorry.
people,
I'm
bro.
sorry.
Like, it's a lot
I'm
of
sorry.
information.
Yeah,
man.
I know about the bottom.
You out here hitting bottoms, bro?
Yes, sir.
Oh man.
I mean, it's been a couple of years, but I still hit bottoms. I mean, I digress.
I got Facebook friends on my friends list since high school, family. Like,
I got Facebook friends on Facebook since high school.
my reputation precedes itself. It
Your
seems
shit is
that
on
way.
fleek. Your shit is on fleek. I have yet to come across a female counterpart that had anything negative to say about you. I'm starting to think I'm starting to think the field is
Hey,
rigged.
give it a minute. Give it a minute.
I'm starting
Give
to feel
it a minute. Give it a
field
minute.
is rigged.
Stick around, Serpent.
Mm-hmm.
Once a year is fuck Kyrie month. I like to call it, and I just know when it happens.
Once a year.
Maybe
That's
Mercury goes retrograde and Gemini or some shit. I don't know.
That's about as often as the average individual thinks about self. So that makes sense.
Makes sense. It's all a shadow projection, but man, I'm just saying that let's just use somebody like Beyonce and let's just generalize. I got you.
Okay.
This person has you, and I am not hating because I've used the same things as Beyonce have used. I've used my voice and I've used my sexiness to get my point across.
Sexiness.
I ain't ashamed of my sexiness, fam.
I didn't say you should be. Why did you have to go right to shame?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm a little
like, I didn't mean to trigger you.
Little trigger.
I didn't mean to trigger you.
Little trigger. Little trigger, but I digress. I mean, that's my Virgo twin, or Sidereal Leo twin. I digress. But
I digress.
No, but seriously, man, we have the ability to speak what we want into existence, and this is not something that is facetious. More or less, it's happening, or it's been happening our whole lives. You was under a spell 10 years ago, 5 years ago. For some of us, a year ago. Y'all was going to church. Y'all was getting y'all hair permed. Y'all was buying True Religion jeans, and you only had $200, and you spent $175 on jeans, and then you gonna tell me that you wasn't under a spell. Why would you spend all of your money on clothes when you could have done other things with your money? You didn't have the patience to learn.
I used to always wonder, like, why would I be so happy to have a pair of Jordans with like $10 in my pocket?
Because of the spell work. Because of the spell work. Ain't it obvious that it's the spell work?
It's obvious to me now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. We're learning about ourselves. But ultimately, we can use our voice, we can use our understanding for our benefit, and not only can we use it for our benefit, we can use it for our partner's benefit. So instead of telling your partner, "Hey, I need you to pay these rent," even so, say for instance, you want and believe me, I'm the type of dude that pays all the bills or attempt to pay all the bills. Okay, I'm that type of dude. However, it would sound great if I'm not saying my wife does or doesn't do it. I'm not speaking about me. I'm speaking in general in reference to mantra work and tantra work and understanding the power of sound. To say, my husband is prosperous, my husband is wealthy, my husband is smart, my husband is strong, my husband is athletic, my husband is a sexual god, my husband is the rock of my life, right? Maybe he might come to that. But say, for instance, but I'm saying, might as well say it if you giving them the box, sis. If you giving them the pussy, then you might as well then just say he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, because your body don't know the difference.
It would behoove you. It would behoove you to put everything into that man.
If you giving him the box.
If you giving him the box, let's think about this. He is putting himself inside of you. Does it make sense for you to give him the box and then talk shit about him later? Because I don't know, but
ain't that you talking about? Ain't that you talking shit about yourself?
Talking about you
in the worst type of way?
Yeah, you're talking about you. That's why people don't understand why they get angry. You're not angry at the person that you're mad, that you're so-called mad at. You're angry at yourself because you don't understand how you couldn't communicate the things to that other individual in order for you to not get to an angry place. You're never angry at yourself when you get angry. You're never angry at the person. You're angry at the situation. And self is upset because self doesn't understand. Why are you angry right now? You have words, you have a mouth, you have a tongue, you have teeth. Like, why are you angry right now? But again, psychology, soul work, shadow work, I digress.
Because you're going to say things about your partner. I hear it all the time. I don't like this man. I don't like this woman, right? But
which is you affirming that thing.
But you're fucking them.
But you're fucking them. Wow.
You're telling me like I'm the one fucking them.
Right? I see these memes where women are so comfortable with saying the worst shit to their man that they know that's gonna hurt and break that man's heart and break his spirit. You're so comfortable in doing that.
But they're
why?
But they're fucking them.
But you're fucking him. Why? Why can't you connect those two things? Why am I going to say
you cannot know what you don't know. You cannot know what you don't know. It's impossible to know what you don't know. The problem is arrogance. The problem is not willing to learn from.
Say it again.
The problem is arrogance and unwillingness to learn. Right? Education, meaning that education is perfectly fine for melanated people under the confines of educational institutions. But have you ever in your life, and I'm not saying that you're the end all be all, but have you even heard about a group study think session on the intricacies of civil law around a whole bunch of black people that's not specifically in law school, but just some regular dudes just getting together and learning the intricacies and the ins and outs of civil law?
Unequivocally, no.
I've never heard that. But how important is it for the black man?
I've never heard another black man mention civil law. So
how important is civil law in reference to black men and black women? I'll digress. Have you ever heard between black men and black women having a good time at a party, dancing and shaking and jiving? Okay. Now let's Google civil law, because I don't know what civil law is. I'm just John McAfee got a hold of me, and he's just saying Google civil law.
He taking you in the right spot, because that's going to reaffirm.
I don't know what civil law means, guys.
It's going to reaffirm what you're talking about, nigga.
Civil law is the system of law concerned with private relation between members of a community.
What did I say?
What the fuck? No.
Like, I would bow, but I'm not Google. You know what I'm saying?
What the fuck? Like, I did not know. I never.
That is perfect for what you just said. I said it's going to reaffirm what you just said.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
I'm not.
I just surprised myself on there. Like, so I'm imagining that civil law would be an important thing for black people to learn amongst themselves within their friend groups. But I guarantee that you've had a good time with your friends, but you've never discussed civil law.
No. Huh.
So why would
How many-
you value having a good time with your friends over now? Imagine if we could create something larger than ourselves.
You don't know what you don't know, right?
Ashe. That's crazy.
Go
Bro.
ahead. Say what you was gonna say. Say what you was gonna say. No.
I was just saying, just imagine if, because I'm not even on no higher than mighty, hoity-toity shit more than, I would talk about civil law the same way as nigga was on Pop Lock and Drop It in 2006. I would study civil law the same way as people would do the chicken dance to a Chingy song. Like, that's my boogie.
I would study civil law the same way I look at smack rap battles.
Okay.
Like, oh no, Tata Delicious is different. She's in a sacred space and you have no right. I digress.
What was we talking about again? I just heard Tatalicious and I zoned out.
Civil law.
Okay.
Civil law. But that's just like the Black's Law Dictionary. It's named the Black's Law Dictionary. How many black people have read the Black's Law Dictionary?
I mean, it's just a wonderful play on words, right? You could just have a Black's Law Dictionary game. You know what I'm saying?
Really? People like to talk about sovereignty. People like to talk about freedom. But people never read a Black's Law Dictionary.
No, people would talk about civil rights, but never talk about civil law. If I knew every single civil right there was, but did not know the law to execute that law, knowing the rights, but I can't express that right through law.
Irrelevant. It makes it irrelevant.
But black people know everything about civil rights, but they don't know shit about civil law. But imagine if Beyonce put out a song called Civil Law. These are mantras. This is the tantra of sound. If Beyonce put out a song outside of, bills, and she came up with a song that we need to work together in relation to how the world is, and realizing that we need to work together and build on each other's strengths and weaknesses and things of that nature, not judge my brother, not judge my sister, and unite with them. Guess what black people will be doing today? But yet, and still she said, bills, can you pay my bills? Can you pay my automobiles? Well, listen, sis, what is an automo? I never heard of an automo, but you want me to pay your automobile? Okay, I'll try. But, in reference to a man who's living this life, who requires love, he may have to level up and get to a point where he has the money and resources, but he will not have the spiritual time to know self. So you will get what you want, sis. You will get a man with money, or you won't get a man with money. But let's give you the benefit of the doubt, and let's give you all the ashe and all the ancestral work of getting a rich man. You better hope and pray that he has some spiritual energy, because that rich man is now turned into a possession of his. Because the rich man is going to take that money and buy things. And because he has that money, he can now buy you. And you just don't know that you don't want to feel bought. So you might then say, why doesn't my man have a lot of money? Because your soul knows that you're not a slave, sis. That makes sense. Your soul knows that you can't be bought, sis. And I'll tell you the reality, man. I done kicked it with more than enough females that had more than enough experience with women to not even accept the opposite. Like, I would never accept a person that just didn't understand life. Let me just say that. It's just an understanding with life. Like, if you understand life, you would not be broke. If you understand life, you would not rely on a man for money. Because that man that you're relying on for money can get rolled over by a tractor trailer, and then tomorrow you won't have nothing to eat because you depended on a man that got rolled over by a tractor trailer yesterday. Don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
You're not factoring the possibility of death, the possibility of something bad happening. Or yes, you are. You figuring if something bad happened to him that you can just get another man. Well, men aren't possessions just like women aren't possessions. But when we treat each other with possessions, we start talking about this shit online.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to talking about it in our relationship.
We start talking about who's got what versus who ain't got shit.
Man.
We start counting competition.
Competition.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
I like these. I like these,
this
man.
This is dope, bro. This is dope, bro. This is dope. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we finally put this on because this covered a lot of ground and people are going to be watching this for a very long time because there was no mustard in this, right? Like there was no mustard involved in this. And if you can't get the message through this, then the frequency wasn't right and exact for you. Just keep playing the video. Eventually you'll get it. Eventually you'll get it.
I mean, if we consistent in providing people with content outside of the normal content, but still making it relevant to their everyday experience, that's all I wanted to do. So if that happened for you, you know, give us a thumbs up, share.
Yeah, that's the description of Serpent's Lair and the Horizon Watch that's on the horizon coming for y'all real quick. No pun intended.
No pun intended, but watch for the horizon.
Watch the horizon, please. Watch it.
Yes, man. So, man, I think we done kept people's time. You know, what would you take from this if you was to take from anything?
If I was on the outside looking in, what I would take from this is that, A, I shouldn't be judging myself for all of the fucked up shit that I did because I probably wasn't in control anyway. B, I probably shouldn't be judging everybody else for what they have or don't have because obviously they're in the same boat that I was in. And C, maybe trying to discover and understand and find out what that thing self is that people keep talking about. Maybe that's something that's important. Maybe trying to figure out what I want as opposed to what other people have done to impose on my will, making me want, aka being possessed, aka being mesmerized and caught in the glamour world. Maybe I might be able to make some headway. Maybe I might be able to create something beautiful because it might actually come from me this time and not somebody else.
Maybe, man. Maybe you are the key to your destiny. Maybe you need to listen to yourself more than you listen to me. Not you specifically, but just generally anybody, listening to anybody other than self, but really relying on the social medias and the YouTubes and the Facebook to really level them up when the reality is that your soul is ready and willing to level you up. But let's talk about
now.
Be with the man or be with the woman that you can provide positive experiences to. And let the person that you're providing positive experiences to determine whether they deem those experiences to be positive or not.
I don't want nothing to do with any woman because I'm an eligible bachelor, right? Like I'm out here in these streets, like I can do what I want. Like there's no, you know what I'm saying? Outside of the responsibilities and discipline that I put on myself, I would say, I would really like the idea of being able to get to know a person and not get to know all of their pathological ideologies.
That are being projected on you.
Yes. I would really like to get to know the person, right? I don't want to know what you think I should be doing based off of a song that you like or some popular narrative that's coming through the airwaves.
Man.
I would really like to know who you are. And the minute I can get to an individual that is willing to allow me to get to know who they are, then maybe I'd be in a relationship. But outside of that, I have no desire to be in anything with anybody who is not going to be themselves. And I'm a spirit-led individual, and I can see if you're being led by yourself based on programming or anything else, or if you're being led by something else. And so that's what I would like. I would just like to get to know people, get to know women.
No,
on their
I would say it
own
like this.
personal
I'll
level.
say it like this, Serpent. You would probably easily get a woman to say, you know, I like you, Serpent. I'm gonna give you some pussy. If you can get her to the point that she say, okay, I want to give you some pussy, or you can hang out with me and we can have sex and things of that nature, say, all right, what I want in return for that is for you to be positive and perpetual with your positive energy every single day for as long as we're together. And maybe that may include sex, maybe that may not include sex. But if you're not ready to do that, then maybe we shouldn't have sex, because that's what I need as a man in this world that I live in. Maybe you don't live in the world that I live in, and that's cool. But in this world that I live in, I need to be showered with love. And it's like, well, I don't feel like I need to do that. Well, then I feel like you shouldn't give me pussy. Because I feel like that's what you're doing when we have sex. I feel like you are showering me and adorning me with positive energy. And I don't want you to stop because we are not having sex.
It's misleading.
Yeah, it throws me off. You're saying,
It's
oh, Daddy,
misleading.
I'm coming. I love you so much. Oh, this D is so good.
Yeah,
Oh.
the whole-
and then
the whole
I
way-
can't stand
the
you
whole
because
way
you're
through
not paying
sex.
my rent.
Yeah, the whole way through sex, you tell me all of the most beautiful things that you would ever say to another individual. And as soon as the rent is not where you want it to be, or a bill is not, I am the worst individual that ever existed on the planet. We need to stop this foolishness when people talk about shit like, oh, you know, there's a thin line between everything. No, nigga, you put that line there. You put that line there. There's not a thin line between everything. You put the line there. Period. I like to have sex just as much as the next person, but I know that when I lay down, that is creation. So if I'm not laying down with an individual that feels the same way about me that I feel about them, then I'm not laying down.
And I say all of that to say, ladies, that sometimes a man can feel unworthy or unwanted by your ambiguity, and it might seem as though, you know, why should I do that? But I might go far as to say, do you feel that way towards yourself first? And if you don't feel that way towards yourself, it's going to be hard to give that to a person.
And I could work with you on that, but you need to be honest about that, right? Be honest about where you're at, so we can get you the way you want to go.
As opposed to doing the default of projecting that on you. Like, if I don't have no money, then my man need to have money. That's fucked up. I don't have nowhere to stay, so my man got to put me in the house. That's fucked up.
Yeah, and then because I know I can be vindictive with my emotions, I can use that against him and against anybody else, so I can get what I want.
Hey, I heard. I was like, you see that shit, bro? My wife was like, she already bought this. You see that? The Saint Germain?
No, I didn't. Oh my gosh. See? Yeah, that's why I think y'all perfect. Like, you know.
That's divine partnership right there, man. Somebody
That's divine partnership, bro.
that connects with you at a level where you don't even have to talk to them.
You don't even have to say nothing. You don't have to ask. You already know what I want. I should not have to ask. The woman always wants her mind to be read, right? Come on, you already know what your man wants. Do you need to wait for him to ask for it?
Or I go so far as to say, follow your intuition, you know? But man, let's clear this one off, man. And let's just say Tantra of Sound coming next week, and we gonna start with the origins of sound and deal with the overall conspiracy that deals with our people today. This removal or reversal of this spell is not going to be ended off of one YouTube video, but I truly believe in the persistence of minds when they come together, that all things are possible. So
everything is possible.
Thanks for being patient with me, bro. I know you was waiting on this video for a minute, but you know
Ah,
everything.
man, I want to say
divine
thank you
timing.
to the people for being patient. Like I've been with you for
Ashe.
3 years, nigga. I could care less about how long we take because I know everything that we do is gonna come through profoundly. Like I just want to say thank you for the people for being able to come back out without, you know, with all of the interruptions and all of the, you know what I'm saying, the consistency that we have displayed the past couple of weeks because we, you know, we got live.